Yo. It's Grapsody with Will, Phil, and Reg, trying to keep it real instead of what you usually get from these talking heads. It's Grapsody, we're here to fill the void. 3 black fans, different perspective, gotta fill your voice. Coming with the podcast, talking majors, indies in between. Yeah, it's all that, and we're down with Fight for Better, fall back. Coming for respect, we connect like a ball bat. No need to double check, these are all facts. You're listening to us talk raps. You're listening to us talk raps. Will, Phil, and Reg. Yeah, we're Grapsody, here to talk raps. Yeah, we're Grapsody, here to talk raps.
From Firefly Funhouses to Monday. If it happened in a squared circle this week, Grapsody has got you covered. Welcome to Grapsody. I'm Will Washington, but I'm not alone here. Also here is the one, Philip Lindsay.
I watched a lot of wrestling last night. I planned on watching more wrestling, but Sacramento Kings and the Clippers decided to have probably one of the best basketball games of the year.
What the hell was that?
I don't know where that came from. These guys decided to try and score 200 points on us. I don't know.
Crazy.
Anybody that's still talking up Lakers going to the playoffs, I think you should be afraid of a healthy Los Angeles Clippers team.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, man. Them guys in Sacramento been balling all year, man.
They have been.
I don't know.
Who knew that the Kings would be the California team this year? It's crazy out here.
I mean, I'm just now seeing that final score of 176 to 175.
What is that? That's nuts.
Crazy times.
It's a video game score.
Malik Monk off the bench with 45 points, just would not miss at several points. I'm just like, this dude is just going nuts. Go figure. Sounds like it was better than an All-Star game that I didn't watch.
Yeah, I did watch the All-Star game, but I also last night I was watching the Thunder and the Suns. And yeah, I mean, look, I know everybody says that the Suns, and granted, KD's not even playing yet, but that the Suns are going to be a force to be reckoned with as the season winds down. We got 22 games left, and you know what do we get out of these next 22? I don't know.
And there's some rumblings that a young Derrick Rose might be over going to the Suns, possibly. So.
I'm just going to throw this out there. I know that you've been saying Denver is going to win a championship. Derrick Rose going to that team raises the chances of me rooting for the Phoenix Suns to win a championship.
I'm not mad at it.
I want my guy to win a ring, bro. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. Right, exactly.
And also here, by the way, is one Righteous Reg who everybody thinks cut his hair because because of the way it's.
Yeah, I just got a little ponytail. You guys, don't worry. It's your boy, the media man, Righteous Reg, your favorite rapper, your favorite writer, your favorite podcaster. It's been a busy ass week, my brothers. I've already forgotten that Battle of the Valley was last week. It's a lot going on, man. There's always so much going on.
That one of the best matches of the year.
I didn't forget, but you know what I mean. I didn't know it was a part of this show too. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I mean, look, a lot happened this week, and there's a lot to talk about. I feel like one of the big conversations out of last week has been all about. And I think this is maybe to a fault. A lot of people have been talking about everything going on with Sami Zayn as of late. And, there's been this big debate. Should he have won? All of this stuff. I don't necessarily believe he should have won. But I do think that WWE didn't do themselves any favors by not at least leaving that aspect of it, the world championship aspect of it, out of the question. Like, I think they should have put a stamp on that.
Right. That angle last night at the end didn't help either, because it's still like, well, what about Roman? People are going to keep saying, well, what about Roman with Sami?
I first of all, I thought Elimination Chamber was a pretty good show. I don't mind Roman winning because I always knew Roman was going to win.
Right.
But the ending was just so flat to me. Like they did the outcome of this match in probably the most uninteresting way possible. And then they proceeded to give us no developments in the rest of the storyline. It was just like stare-offs, and then like that's it. It just.
And I will say, watching Raw, I'm okay with that. Like, I'm okay with Kevin Owens not just immediately forgiving Sammy, and like I think that's a great story. I think there still being questions over Jey Uso is great. The only thing I didn't like is, and maybe it's because it doesn't feel like it's doing Cody any favors. I'll tell you what, I have been one of those guys who's been really anti the whole story of, oh, the fans are going to turn on Cody, all of that. But I had my first instance this week with somebody that made me feel like maybe that could happen. I was so I posted to Twitter this week that I bought a copy of NFL 2K5 from a vintage video game shop. Two things make me feel old about this. One, this vintage video game shop that I went to wasn't always a vintage video game shop. I used to shop there when I was a kid, and it was just a video game store, and it was my video game store, but somewhere along the way, they became a vintage video game store, and they're like the place you go to buy like Nintendo 64 games and original Xbox and Sega Genesis, all that stuff. But I used to buy those games new at this exact store, so that...
Shout out to Babbage's back in the day.
Yeah, Babbage's. Didn't that just become GameStop? I'm pretty sure they were owned by GameStop. But yeah, so this store is called Game Force. And the guy who runs that store has been working there since I was a kid. He and I joke all the time about how there was one time when I was 10 years old, I took the bus. I used to ride the bus around the city, and I took the bus with a backpack full of games. And I used to have them little M&M's minis containers with like full of change. And I was taking the bus to this store, and I got off at the wrong stop and had to walk 2 extra miles to get to said store, to get to Game Force. And I was there to buy Mortal Kombat Trilogy. And I got there with this backpack full of games and these things full of quarters, and I plopped it all on, and he counted it up, and he was like, yeah, you're like $5 short. And we like joke about that all the time, about how I walked all that time. I took the bus. I was in these Nike flip-flops, and so yeah, it was the worst. It was the middle of the summer, and I did not have enough for Mortal Kombat Trilogy. I had to call my dad to bring me $5 extra. I ended up getting it, but it had just come out. It had been like maybe a few days it had been out, and anyway, so he and I joke about that all the time. But one of the things that I talk about every time I go into that store, he is a very casual wrestling fan. And the first thing, as soon as he saw me, he was like, what'd you think of Elimination Chamber? And I told him what I thought, and I was like, what'd you think? And he was like, yeah, I liked it a lot, right? And so we're kind of talking wrestling a little bit. And he's a very casual fan. He says he's been watching. He used to watch when he was younger. He stopped watching for a long time. Probably he stopped watching, he said, in about like 2006. And then he picked it back up during the pandemic. And he only watches WWE. He doesn't watch anything else. He says he's been watching. So he started watching around 2020 again. And he was just like, look, it got me through the pandemic, so I started watching again, and he got hooked on the Bloodline, Roman Reigns, all of that stuff. That's what got him back into wrestling.
Did you then turn around and say pandemic wrestling sucks?
No, I'm not going to say that to somebody who's like, that's what got me back into pro wrestling.
But that's unfortunate, bro.
Like, I understand from his perspective how that helped him. But he said something to me that made me feel like, shit, maybe there's a problem here. But he goes, I don't get Cody Rhodes. And I'm like, elaborate. And he goes, I don't know. What's the appeal? Does he just like talk? And I was like, he was like, I never saw him before. He was like, I know he was in the company before. And he was like, and I know he was in that AEW thing, but I've never seen that. I don't get it. I don't get the appeal. And he's like, I certainly don't see it over Sami Zayn. And he was like, all he does is come out and talk. And I was like, I guess if think about this. If your only exposure to Cody is really just these last, since Royal Rumble, all you've seen him do is win the Rumble and have like
what do you want to talk about?
Right. And he does the what do you want to talk about every week. But he's like, yeah, I don't see it. I don't know why people are so into him, and it's not making any sense to me, and it's not. And I thought, oh shit, are they? Maybe this is just
any of the matches from last year.
I don't know what he saw from last year, but I feel like the gap was so big, and if you're somebody who's now been watching this last year and seeing kind of guys like Sami Zayn rise and seeing Kevin Owens rise and all of that, and then Cody Rhodes just kind of steps in and steps all over what you've been watching, I can kind of see from that perspective how Cody maybe isn't selling himself to you. Like, if you have exposure, like for me, I have a huge attachment to Cody. I've been watching Cody his whole career, right? And like, I have a huge attachment to Cody just in the last couple of years because I saw what he's been doing. But I hadn't thought about somebody who doesn't have an attachment to Cody, seeing him just kind of come in and take place or take the main event spot. And I guess I hadn't thought about that till he was talking about it. But he's straight up like, yeah, I just want to see him. I mean, he was like, I was invested in the Sami Zayn stuff, and now I just feel like we're moving to Cody, and I don't get Cody at all. And I'm like, damn.
Yeah, I feel like he had to have missed stuff from last year, because I feel like the only way that you could really have a disconnect, if you only watch WWE and you're a casual fan, and you've been a casual fan for the past 2 years, I feel like a big part of the thing that endeared him to WWE fans was the Seth feud, particularly Hell in a Cell. And so I feel like to say, like, all he does is talk after Hell in a Cell, like, I don't understand. He had to have, there's got to be a gap somewhere. I need more information. He had to have missed matches from last year, because otherwise I don't understand the statement.
Well, it could be because, again, if you're looking at it from the perspective of somebody who, I don't know, he mentioned he watched Elimination Chamber, but like, if you're somebody who is so casual that you really just watch like Raw and SmackDown, I can also see that like Cody's big matches have all been on the pay-per-views. He actually hasn't wrestled. He wrestled The Miz and Corbin and Finn Balor. Like, those have been kind of the Raw matches. But other than that, he doesn't really have like any TV matches or like a whole lot to sink your teeth into if you didn't see the stuff on the premium live events.
Yeah, I don't know if he's a good barometer then for people turning on Sam.
Yeah, I just
because like I said, I feel like you're missing a good chunk of what made Cody meant with WWE if you did not see the Seth feud.
Yeah, it's probably just an anecdotal case, but I'm just saying it was the
Yeah.
first time that I've heard from a casual fan that wasn't even looking at it the way like a lot of the internet fan base kind of looks at things and is like, they're going to turn on Cody because of this or that. Just the fact that he's like, I don't get it. It's just, he's just a guy who just like talks and he's in a suit and like, I don't
You sure
fully
this wasn't?
see it.
He wasn't just hitting you with the big thing, and he was just trying to say, "I don't get it," just to get a rise out of you.
No,
He knows he's going to debate you.
Yeah, because he's also like, the thing he also said was he was like, and I was a big, he was like, back in the day, I loved Gold Dust, and he was like, and I loved Dusty, but, and he's like, so like, I get that he's the son of Dusty, but I don't see it with him. And I thought, damn, I wonder if there's other people in the audience feeling that way. And that was the only thing. It was just like walking away from that conversation. I went,
Yeah, maybe. Because that report came out, of course, this week that WWE is concerned, which I don't believe at all.
I don't believe that either.
I don't believe that.
I do because of, I get what they're concerned about if there is a concern. Because you could just watch the TV this week and see that there was a concern. You could see that they kept him completely off of Elimination Chamber because they did not want him in any way in front of those Montreal fans who would have seen him as an interference to the Sami Zayn story.
They were still in Canada on Monday, and
they were still in Canada.
Pop.
But again, he was in Canada on Monday, and I think it was more of a. I mean, entrances are tricky because WWE fakes crowd reactions in entrances. But as far as him in the ring, you could kind of see how that promo was positioned in a way to like not leave Cody out there on his own. Like, they let Paul Heyman do a lot of things. And
Paul Heyman's a wild dude, by the way.
Paul Heyman is. But I get what Meltzer was saying about how they structured that promo in a way where they didn't leave Cody out there on his own in case the fans might not be on his side. I can see where they I think it might have been an unfounded concern, but I can see how there was concern.
I still think people are trying to manifest this rebellion against Cody.
Yeah. Oh, and I look, I love Cody. I want to. Are you kidding me? I think the best thing imaginable is Cody with the wide jib shot panning around, getting all of the fans in attendance at WrestleMania. Cody standing on the turnbuckle with millions of dollars worth of pyro going off behind him. A video of the logo on the ceiling because they're going to do the ceiling projections at WrestleMania. You're going to have the American Nightmare logo and him holding up 2 belts and in tears and kissing the mat and all of that stuff. I think that's the best ending imaginable to WrestleMania.
Yeah, I think they just the biggest thing they just got to get to WrestleMania. I don't think the WrestleMania crowd is going to hijack it. I think along the way there'll be some crowds that are going to seem different, but they just got to get to the show. And they need to wrap this Sami Zayn shit up or do something to get us to forget that he's in a feud with Roman Reigns. At this point, I'm like, yo, win the championship, bro. Like, I'm confused too. They confuse me at this point.
Well, I'm fine with it because I feel like this is the story they've been telling. Yeah. And I am just not on board with people that think they should completely stop the story they're telling and go, all right, well, just put him in the main event and put him in the world title match. That's not the story they've been telling. And doing that, you not just, kind of throw dirt on Cody's run and diminish his Royal Rumble win, but you also leave Kevin Owens with nothing to do.
I know. I feel like people are talking about Kevin Owens through all of that.
You leave Kevin Owens with nothing to do, and then you leave the Usos with nothing to do.
Yeah. And that's why I didn't necessarily like a lot about the ending to Elimination Chamber, because I feel like when I say put a stamp of finality on some things, like I said, I don't think they needed the Jay stuff. To me was a little bit fine. And I
thought he stood out there for ages, man.
I know, and not only that, he stood out there for ages, but then when Sammy accidentally knocks him out of the ring, he's like fucking dead. And how did he disappear for the rest of the show?
I didn't like any of that. I didn't like the ref bumps. I thought it was just way too over. It felt like anime reactions to everything. It was like, okay.
No, I didn't like the ref bumps, and then I also did not like that. By all logic, by WWE's own logic, they set themselves up for a triple threat, and I don't like that. Like, because when you think about 2 years ago, this same exact scenario with Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan, and how you had Royal Rumble winner Edge, but you also had Bryan come out of 2 matches with Roman, 2 of them, where Bryan almost had the victory. And so I have concerns over the fact that logically, you just did this 2 years ago where Bryan pretty much came really close to beating Roman. And so therefore, he was entitled to a match at WrestleMania and got himself slipped into the WrestleMania scenario. Why logically would Sammy not look at this and go, well, I had Roman beat twice. Literally, there were 2 ref bumps, and in both of those ref bumps, he had Roman pinned. Why would he not be able to look up and go, I should be inserted into this match? Well, in the same way Bryan was 2 years ago. Well, and so I don't like the fact that Sammy, they didn't essentially say, like, Sammy's story, they didn't move him fully on to the Usos. There's still the question of Sammy showed he could beat Roman. He had Roman down for a 10 count. He absolutely showed he could beat Roman. He should have beaten Roman. He should be champion right now. And I don't think that did Cody any favors.
Well, I would say the big difference between the Bryan and Edge stuff is that, one, I don't like that people keep comparing Sammy to Bryan.
Nah.
And I don't like people going like, no, this is the Yes Movement, and the Yes Movement forced them to do this. No. You can't just compare anything to Bryan during the Yes Movement. That guy was a special kind of over.
Absolutely.
And that's not to say that Sammy is not over. But no. Bryan was a special kind of over, and you can't just say just anybody has that kind of height of popularity again. And I think the bigger difference storyline-wise is that Edge interfered and cost Bryan that match. And Cody was nowhere around this match at all. He was just like, no, go win your match. and he did win his match. So I think the storyline, I think the stuff with him and Roman is done for now. Because again, I don't think the story is that Sammy wants to be champion. I think the story is that Sammy wants to take down the Bloodline and take Roman down a peg.
Yes. Yeah, and I'm fine with that. I just feel like the fans more so are still on this idea that, well, Sammy can beat Roman. He proved he can beat Roman, so why isn't he beating Roman? And like I said, I thought that,
but they know why.
I would have felt like, honestly, if you were going for those crowd reaction shots anyway, because WWE loved doing those, they tried to do like a very Taker type thing, the Taker ending streak thing of doing zoom ins on the fans, but I feel like the ending was a little flatter. Honestly, I think Roman, I would have done some of the same distraction stuff, like, Jimmy causing a distraction, things along those lines. I wouldn't have had Sammy get any visual pins on Roman. That's the only piece I would have taken away from that.
A couple of things. First of all, everybody trying to get them to do this split night title things, forget about it. It's over. There's not happening.
You can't split the titles. You can't
split the titles. We're past the point of splitting the titles.
No,
it's not a thing anymore. If they're gonna have another title, they're gonna create a new one. They're not gonna all of a sudden be like, okay, Roman, actually you have 2 belts now. One, because that'd be dumb to beat Roman. If you're trying to beat Roman once and then have him keep the other belt, that just doesn't make any sense at all. It's just not a good idea. And 2, I think that Roman Reigns is winning at WrestleMania.
Oh shit.
Oh my God. Numbers, feel like would make
numbers.
Now that I feel like would make the Sammy stuff worse, because if you beat Sammy in his hometown and then that's supposed to be leading to Cody being the one, and Cody isn't the one, then what the hell are we doing? Now, again, if this is just if this is just I don't want to book for a moment, I don't want to book for a pop because I have a larger storyline to tell, I get that. But if you're not giving him the win in his hometown, but you're still planning for Roman to win at Mania, that makes absolutely no sense.
My mind was
all.
changed the other day when I saw that graphic that said 900 plus days. They definitely have a 1,000 plus days graphic created right now.
Oh my God!
In the drafts,
I would be out.
Roman Reigns is going to get to.
I would be out. I'm just telling you right now. I would be out on all of this stuff.
He's not going to be 1,000.
I mean, 940 whatever is still really good.
You're too close to the 1,000, Will Washington. You know how WWE feels. I understand you guys' story and all that. They don't give a fuck about that. All they care about is numbers and accolades.
I'm telling you right now, if WrestleMania ends with I'm cutting that shit the fuck off.
Great.
Like straight up. Like I do not want that. Nothing about that sounds good.
All the pyro that was going to be for Cody's going to be for Roman.
No, I don't want it. That sounds bad. Yeah, that sounds really bad.
I'll say this because I see people kind of putting out different ideas about how, hey, maybe he should, they could do a ladder match, all that stuff. No, you got 3 things right now. There's 3 really important accolades right now that they keep touting, which is 1, Roman has not been pinned in 3 years.
Yeah.
2, Roman has been a Universal Champion for 909 days. And 3, he's been WWE Champion almost a year. All 3 of those have to be lost at once. You can't pin him but be like, oh, we finally broke the pin streak, but he still got these 2 titles. Or you can't be like, oh, well, he lost the WWE title, but he's still 900 days champion. Like, so we took away 2 of them because he also got pinned. Or if you do it in a ladder match scenario, then it's like, oh, we took away one of those accolades, but he still has the other 2. It all has to go at once. That's the rub. Somebody beats him, and they get all 3 of those things. They beat the pin streak. They end a 900-plus day title reign, and they end a 360-day title reign. Like that, all 3 things have to go at once. Because that is the rub now. The stronger he gets, the more of a rub he has to give to somebody else. Right. And anyway, folks,
but
we got things to talk. Oh, go ahead.
I'll throw this part in there. I think people are missing the story bit in there that going into this match and for a good part of this match before Jimmy came out, the commentary was putting over the fact that this is the first time Roman came out with no Bloodline guys. Can he win this match without Bloodline interference? And Jimmy came out at the last minute, and I think that's setting it up for WrestleMania for him to really come out there alone and the Usos aren't going to help him. And that's going to be the thing that puts it over, and he's going to lose.
And then the last thing on this I want to say, how do you guys feel about the WrestleMania match happens, Roman and Cody, and Sammy cost Roman the championships for Cody?
Sure, why not?
I mean, I think Cody should win clean. I think the guy that eventually beat Roman has to beat him clean. I don't think it should be in question. But again, I feel like Sammy has done his part by splintering the bloodline.
Right.
And because the bloodline is not going to be at full strength at WrestleMania, that's going to be the thing that helps Cody win.
Gotcha.
All right. Well, we got some. So I do want to let everybody know this right here. This is Grapsody. And for those of you who are watching live, please send us your super chats. YouTube.com/Fightful is the way to get us a super chat. You can also send us your humper chat. You can send those at any time. And if we get them before the end of this show, we try to read them here on the show. We got the super chat 10 hours ago from Mac from Brooklyn. He says, shout out Mac from BK, by the way, who's been, he was a long-time RBR listener. I don't know if he still listens to RBR. I hope you do. But also, he's been a Grapsody supporter since day one. Love Mac. Mac says, for Grapsody, shit like Starrcade 97 is why I've been a long time anti-Hogan, even before I learned that he had to say the 6-letter words that start with N and end in ER. Yeah, I know. Look, Hogan has been Hogan a long time. Although, I have the slight beef with WWE in that... So, of course, they did the NWO documentary this week, and they got to Starrcade 97, and pretty much they did a tell-all, right? They had Bischoff talking about it all. They had Hogan, they said everything. They had footage of Sting, and they're talking about it all, talking about how Hogan was pretty much like, this is not going to work for me, brother. And he was straight up like, nope, not losing clean to Sting, all of that. I enjoyed that. I enjoy getting tell-all stories about some of the bad shit in pro wrestling history. But I also hate that WWE is never going to produce that about their own bad shit. No. Like they will do a documentary about WCW and talking about what fell apart in a WCW pay-per-view main event. But you'll never see a sit down with Bruce Pritchard, Vince McMahon, Bray Wyatt, and Seth Rollins talking about what went wrong at Hell in a Cell 2019, right? Like no one's going to sit down and do that. They will hopefully. They will go the rest of eternity talking about that match. Was like, as far as canon to WWE, that match was fine. But I do think that there's value in that. I do think that there's value in, I would love one day to get like a true sit down of what was going through the minds of everybody at Royal Rumble 2015. What made all those guys go, you know what? Fuck Bryan. Fuck all these fans who love Bryan. We're going with what we have in mind, and we're not even going to position the show in a way where people will like it. I would love to see that. Like, I want that sit down talking head from Vince McMahon where he just goes, "Yeah, I heard the fans. Fuck them." Yeah. And then I want to know, and then Rock's like, they sent me out there and I could hear those boos, and I whispered in Roman's ear. I turned to him. I went, "Yeah, I know they're booing you right now, but I started with $7 in my pocket." And
I know that's not what he whispered. He turned around and whispered, "Look, I am never wrestling you at WrestleMania."
Tell them to quit calling me. Tell them to stop trying to
I am never doing that. I don't care what happens.
Out of my emails, I am not coming.
That was the other funny thing about this weekend. I saw some people saying that, hey, what if they try and do a Montreal Screwjob thing? Hey, guys, have you not remembered what the Montreal Screwjob was? No. Their guy won. Yeah. It wasn't to set up your guy winning. This wasn't going to be a screw job that put Sammy as champion. No, they're not going to do that.
And also, they have gone to the well on the Montreal screw job a million times. People forget that a year later, Rock winning the title at Survivor Series was a Montreal screw job reference. They did the shit at, what pay-per-view was that? Breaking Point 09 with Teddy Long screwing Undertaker out of the title at Breaking that was in Montreal. Like, they have gone to that well a million times.
Move on from the Montreal screw job, please. Yeah. Especially Triple H. We don't need you being the guy
need to be anywhere around that.
Yeah. And so either way, No, I do laugh at that, the Starrcade stuff, and thinking about how, yeah, again, WWE has no problem telling like the shitty stories from WCW and being like, yeah, look at this place. This place was a disaster. They had, their creative was awful. But I just feel like, why? Even anything. I feel like you could even sit down and be like, look, Rob Conway with that "just look at me" was trash, and we knew it, and we weren't going to make that work. I would love to see somebody like Cop 2 on a WWE documentary talking about, hey, here's some shit we did that just didn't work.
Mm-hmm. That would be dope. Bruce kind of gets into it on his podcast, but he always just caps for it. He's just like, "Oh, that was the thing at the time." So he kind of caps for it. Shit.
No, I want WWE, like actual produced WWE, like a sit down. Stephanie McMahon, head of creative at the time. Like, what were you thinking when you did this?
Right. They only did that for the Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, they'll bury Warrior and they'll bury WCW stuff. And they'll even talk ECW stuff. Paul Heyman didn't sign checks, all that stuff. But like their own history is always so protected.
Right. And in response to that question, it's been over for Terry since WrestleMania 9. After WrestleMania 9, I knew that this fool was the worst ever. I was like, what is that? There was no coming back from that. I was like, this guy sucks. And
Yeah,
he continued to suck right after that.
I was never big on Hulk anyway. I think Hulk was the guy that was the face of that generation, but I was always a Macho Man fan. And I don't know, a part of me always felt the way about the implosion of the Mega Powers. And I'm like, Macho was right about everything he was saying.
Off rip.
Man.
Yeah,
He was right all along about this guy.
Bro
man.
lifted his girl up on his shoulders. Like,
Speaking of which, I was just listening to Be a Man the other day. That track cracks me up every time. That man did a diss track on Hulk Hogan.
That's insane. Like I said, it's Ether, Hit 'Em Up, and Be a Man as like the most disrespectful effects.
I mean, the funny thing is, and he uses the opening line from No Vaseline. The diggity damn Hulk, I'm glad you set it off. Used to be hard, Hulk, now you done turned soft.
Macho Man was that guy, bro.
Macho Man was going in.
Macho Man was that guy, bro.
Yeah, no. Still, Macho Man's one of the greatest of all time. Still, when people do wrestler voice, they do Macho Man voice. Like,
yeah, they do. Because Hulk Hogan is a real big punk.
Macho Man forever, bro.
Diss track, yeah.
Macho Man
diss
forever.
track on Hogan. So great.
And Terry still didn't explain why he didn't want Sting to beat him. He said, I had all this momentum. You didn't. Sting had the momentum. That's Sting what we're doing here, dude.
Sting had wrestled in a year, was the hottest thing in wrestling. It was like all people wanted to see. I remember in it's elementary school that year. There were two kids who came to school dressed as Sting. This was prior to Super Bowl that year. And or Starrcade, sorry. Prior to Starrcade. It's funny, my WCW pay-per-views is getting mixed up. But that was prior to Starrcade. And just thinking about how that man hadn't wrestled in a year, but like kids were still, and I was one of those kids who just loved Sting. All I wanted to see was Sting when that man was in the rafters, when he pointed his bat, all of it. I just wanted to see Sting do his thing and to finally have a match with Hogan after a year of not stepping in the ring. And I wasn't aware for years that anything had even gone wrong with that ending because I watched it on Scramble Vision. I didn't actually see it. I could see like blurry lines and I could hear the whole thing. And all I heard was a 1, 2, 3, and then Bret Hart comes out, but I didn't know what actually happened. And so I was just happy that Sting won. That was how I watched the pay-per-views, by the way. That and like there's two I remember vividly like that. I pretty much watched them all like that because I couldn't afford pay-per-views. My family couldn't do that shit, but we definitely watched them all scrambled. And I remember that one and King of the Ring 98. Like I remember something happening to Mankind and hearing it and hearing JR screaming his head off, "By God, you've killed him." I didn't see none of it.
By that time, shout out to my Uncle Tyrone. My auntie married a dude that really liked wrestling, so he started buying wrestling shows. So it was pretty lit for us. Shout out to my Uncle Tyrone because I was watching that King of the Ring show. I seen Over the Edge and all really bad one. But yeah, there's a lot of shows back then that if Uncle Tyrone wasn't there, I definitely wouldn't have seen them. Before that, it was Scramble Vision. I remember watching Bash at the Beach 94. The one with Hogan where he came to WCW and listening and being like, oh shit, it's crazy. In the Texas Death Match with Vader and Cactus Jack. 1993.
Yeah.
Damn, I'm aging myself. We're 100 years old over here, you guys.
Dude, we weren't able to actually order a pay-per-view. I've said it on this show that until Armageddon 99, and I just happened to see some titties on that pay-per-view because the cat showed her titties on that show, and I was like, you see titties on pay-per-view?
Did
want
you see
every
Royal
pay-per-view.
Rumble 2000 where Mae Young?
I did.
And that was, oh my God.
I think I didn't miss a pay-per-view after that for like 2 years.
Good time.
Because, yeah, that's what we did.
Thank God for the network. That was crazy. If you were getting WCW and WWF pay-per-views, you're spending like $60 a month.
Yeah.
Nah, kids don't know the struggle today now that you could just get the network and you're lit. You know,
I mean, you're just on Peacock. And look, I watch other things on Peacock. I haven't started Bel Air season 2 yet. But did you watch it yet, Phil? First episode is. First episode is up.
No, the only television that I was enthralled with this week was the Return of Snowfall. the 2 episodes that aired were amazing. The cliffhanger of the last episode, I've watched it like 5 times. We're back, baby.
I mean, shout out Peacock because I just started Poker Face, and I really, really like it. I'm a big murder mystery guy. Like, if any shows where I can watch, I don't know. I'm really big on Law and Order: Criminal Intent. That's one of my favorites. I watched Murder, She Wrote when I was a kid. I love murder mysteries. I love the idea of
Grandpa.
Look, you telling me right before Raw you didn't watch Murder, She Wrote back in the day?
No, my mom watched Murder,
or like
She Wrote.
2 minutes before the show started.
Watch what my mom watched.
No, I don't know. I'm big on murder mysteries, and so my dad was really big on Columbo. And for those who don't know the formula of Columbo was more of a murder mystery where you, the viewer, knew from the beginning who did it, but you're watching Columbo figure it out. And so you kind of get a little bit excited where you're like, oh shit, he's on the right track, and you're like getting excited for him because they tell you from the very beginning of the episode, this is who did it. And now Columbo has to figure it out. And that's what Poker Face really does. And I like it as a show. For those who've watched Poker Face, it's, I don't know, Natasha Lyonne, for people who know her from Orange is the New Black and American Pie back in the day. She did Russian Doll. But yeah, she's a human lie detector. She doesn't always know why people are lying, but she can always tell when somebody's lying. And her catchphrase in the show is bullshit. And I pop every single time she does it.
Phrase?
It'll get. You have to be watching the show, or like somebody will say something and she'll just go, bullshit, and like you're like, she got him. She caught him lying. She knew it.
You know what, Washington? I'm kind of upset that in our little headliner that you didn't add Angela Bassett did the thing to our.
Angela Bassett did the thing.
Angela Bassett did do the thing. Never forget.
She did the thing.
That should have been a headline.
Yeah.
Shout out to the homegirl. She was spitting.
Hey, man. Angela Bassett's out here, bro. Should win an Oscar this year.
Definitely.
I don't care what anybody says.
She should. Right. The best supporting actress, I think.
I still haven't watched that movie. I should probably watch it, huh?
I mean, it's on Disney Plus now.
It's on Disney Plus.
Yeah,
somebody send me their login. Put it in the comments right now.
You know, it's hard.
Please
like,
don't put your login in the comments.
It's hard even seeing movies in theaters right now because everything's dropping on streaming services so quick. You know, I feel like it was less than a month ago that I saw Megan, and it's on Peacock now. And my dad was the one who told me. I was talking to him yesterday, and he's like, "Yeah, I was watching Megan yesterday on Peacock." And I'm like, "I just saw that movie. I just spent $40 on a movie date to see that movie. What do you mean it's on Peacock?"
Less than a month ago, huh? That's crazy. They're putting these movies out quick.
Yeah, and so. Whatever. We got Jason R. says, hope all is well with the best 3 in the business. I saw a debate on Meltzer's Twitter, and a person also brought it up to me. Do you think someone can have a legendary wrestling career if they never made it in the E? Absolutely. 2 reasons you can say that. I think, 1, look at Sting. If Sting never appeared in WWE before 2014, he's still one of the greatest of all time. Still one of the best in the business. I think that anybody you talk to in wrestling, anybody other than like Jim Cornette, would call the Young Bucks one of the top tag teams of all time. And even guys who believe that they're one of the top tag teams. You ask any member of the New Day, they'll say, no, the Young Bucks are it. And yeah, they've had a legendary career.
Briscoes.
If they never step foot, the Briscoes, if they never step foot, absolutely you can have a legendary career if you haven't stepped foot in WWE.
Yeah, I think that's only if we're talking about American wrestling, because there's Mexican wrestlers, there's Japanese wrestlers that never ever even step foot in America for that shit, and that are the greatest of all time. So yeah, that's just if you're talking about American wrestling, and even then, no, it's not all about WWE. It's just about pro wrestling.
I think it is. Like obviously WWE is the biggest platform, but there's plenty of guys who definitely did not have their best performances in WWE, and so like that's I don't know. I
think,
were there, but it was whack. That doesn't.
Yeah, like imagine you only knew Raven because of the WWE stuff.
Right.
Like I feel like Raven's career outside of WWE is what has made him a legend.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think it depends on. I think you could definitely be a legend having not wrestled in WWE, but I do think there's like certain criteria if you want to be considered like one of the greatest of all time. And not saying you have to go to AEW or WWE to be considered one of the greatest of all time, but I do think you need to be exposed to a larger audience in some ways to be in that conversation.
It just sucks that the reverse, that people are like, oh, he was in WWE his whole career, so he's the greatest. Shouldn't it be the same? Like we never saw Shawn Michaels in Mexico.
Like
Japan.
Right now, Kazuchika Okada is a legend.
Right.
It's the legend of Kazuchika Okada is growing by the year, and he's never wrestled in WWE. I don't think he ever will.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I mean, because I do agree with you, because like Randy Orton is a guy that a lot consider the greatest of all time. I would love to see just one Orton match somewhere else to see exactly what he's able to do without.
I want to see Dolph Ziggler wrestle somewhere else.
When did Orton get injured? Because genuine question: has Orton ever worked without Vince? Because he was injured before SummerSlam, right? So therefore, does Orton know professional wrestling without Vince McMahon?
Yeah.
Legit from birth, that's all he's ever known.
That was a weird comment. Speaking of Okada, by the way, that match was Kaido. I kind of want heel Rainmaker back at this point.
I like it.
The way he healed up in this match was fantastic. Throwing the kid out and basically doing the Barney meme of throwing the guy out of the ring. And he turned around, he was back in there, and he kept doing that. And he kept having to beat this guy down until he got to the end of the match, and he was like, you know what, forget it. Beats this guy into submission, Rainmakers him, picks him back up at the 2 count, Cobra Flosions this guy, Rainmakers him again, proceeds to walk out of the ring, doesn't even look back at him, doesn't show him any respect, just walks out of the ring. I thought it was great.
We got a couple more I want to read. Jason R. here also follows up by saying, I think people like Inoki, Sting are examples of all-timers who didn't need WWE.
Right.
A friend of mine thinks Sting would have been better off in WWE, which I told them is a wild and I think inaccurate take. I mean, it's a hard one.
He definitely would. If his career was in WWE, he wouldn't be a face paint Sting. Eventually, Vince would have been like, take that fucking face paint off for sure, guaranteed.
Yeah.
Let's see. Joseph says, does a triple threat tag team match between Damage Control, Shayna, Ronda, and Becky Lita interest y'all? No.
No,
just because I think that that's a really, really odd one. And I think whatever happens at Mania is involving the ladies, Trish is going to have there's going to play some kind of factor in it.
Right.
So
yeah,
I don't know what that ends up being.
I do think that Ronda and Shayna will be tag champions eventually. I don't know if it'll be after Mania. I don't know if it will be at Mania, but it feels like every week now they are positioning them more and more as a tag team. So I feel like that's what they're building to.
And do we have an update on Dakota? Is she still hurt?
I mean, she's wrestling this week.
Oh, okay.
She's wrestling on Monday.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. So let's see. We got this one from where is it? This one's from.
Do we have
Trey
an update
Cash.
on what happened to Trish, by the way?
I mean, she had a creative meeting. She was at Raw. She had a meeting, and then I don't think, because I think people assumed kind of a negative situation there where they're like, well, some obviously bad happened, but I think it was just a creative thing, and they just realized they didn't want to use her that week. Some are speculating that she was going to turn heel and that it wouldn't have worked in Canada. So then it aligned with Bayley. And so therefore they were like, let's hold this off another week.
That's what I think it was. I think they didn't think she was going to get booed. And I kind of think she is going to cost Becky and Lita the championship next week.
Oh, so they're going to go with Becky and Lita against Bayley and Trish at WrestleMania.
That's my guess.
I like it.
Let's see. So Trey Cash says, what it do, fellas? If you could bring anyone from AEW to WWE to be the one to dethrone Roman, who would you choose? And can we acknowledge the Cody Cutter is the worst/slowest move of all time? How do you jump off the second rope and still barely get in the air?
Don't do Cody like that, man. You know he works at a turtle's pace. Action Andretti, probably.
If it's not Cody, is that what you're saying?
I guess, yeah, if it's not Cody.
QT Marshall, one of Cody's friends,
QT
probably.
Marshall.
No, I mean, like, if I could bring anybody, I would do like a Hangman Adam Page.
To beat Roman at WrestleMania, if it was anybody.
If it's not Cody, if it's somebody that essentially has that kind of like strong aura, where they have a strong aura in AEW and they come over here. No, actually, what am I talking about? It's Jon Moxley. That's like that comes full circle.
I just don't want to lose anybody to WWE. I'm like, nobody. Who's like the worst person on AEW?
You see the evil grin that's coming across my face because I realized he was still an AEW wrestler and the world would burn down if he went back there and beat Roman.
That's my answer too. Yeah,
Chick Magnet Punk.
Yeah, Punk.
Yeah,
definitely.
Let's see. Got another one from Anwar. He says, I hope y'all have a great show and everyone watching has a dope weekend. Media Man, what was the best Golden State Warriors championship parade that you attended? Phil, what is your favorite Spider-Man comic book storyline?
I've only been to one. That was 18. I don't know, but I didn't live in Oakland. I lived in San Jose, and I came down to Oakland, and it was the craziest shit I ever seen. Oakland's already nuts. If you just come on a regular Sunday to Oakland, you'll see some crazy shit. But imagine there being a championship parade with the Golden State Warriors just won a championship. E40's there, Too Short's there, Mr. Fab's there. It's just like crazy. There's a million people in the streets. There's scrapers. There's sideshows. Mac Dre's playing in the background. It's everything you could imagine.
That sounds amazing.
A Bay Area celebration could be. It was amazing. Great.
What is my favorite Spider-Man comic book story? That is hard. There are so many great Spider-Man comic stories. I am gonna go with the Dan Slott run before he came back. I think everything he did building up to Otto taking over Peter's body and being Spider-Man for a year and whatever, or for a few months or whatever, I thought all that stuff was great. I thought Otto being a better Spider-Man until the greatest Spider-Man villain of all time came back and proved that no, Spider-Man is Peter Parker. Without Peter Parker, there's no Spider-Man. I think that was like one of the greatest runs of Spider-Man comics.
All right. I'm going to read a couple more, and then I'm going to get to what I see a lot of people asking, where's the AEW Fight Forever update?
Get to it, dude.
Okay, so Jake Salazar said, wait, but LeBron fans told me Westbrook was the problem. Why did he play good? I thought he was a bum.
17 points, 14 assists last night.
But I digress. LeBron is the problem.
Bro. I don't know, man. Might not be. I by the way, I just think calling that man a vampire on the way out was extremely nasty, and I think the fact that Bron has not defended him at all is really whack.
And it's crazy because Westbrook was putting up numbers on the Lakers. It's just like at the beginning of the season there was some talk, but then he like just started being a good basketball player like he always is, and I'm like, I don't really understand what's going on here.
Yeah.
Tim Gordon says, they have a perfectly good story about Rhea getting redemption for her loss at Mania 3 years ago. What was with the promo last night?
Oh, that was awful. I'm sorry. That was awful. I think a lot of SmackDown wasn't very good, but that segment was bad. I don't know what they were trying to do there. If you're still trying to push that this could be a main event, watching that segment, that did not feel like a WrestleMania main event segment.
Ooh.
Jake Salazar says, casual WWE fans are getting tired of the My Dad Dusty promo almost every week.
My daddy, when?
Daryl Fenderson, says, best 3 hours of the week. Reg, a hot dog is a taco, not a sandwich.
There
I
could be an
disagree.
argument.
I think
What?
I think
It's
a hot
not either
dog.
one. It's a hot
No.
dog.
No, the hot dog is a sandwich. I think that when you define a sandwich as 2 pieces of bread and meat between or anything between, a hot dog is a sandwich.
Okay.
But a sandwich is not a hot dog. I have had this debate many a
But
time.
a hot dog is a hot dog. I don't know. I don't really get it. I don't be eating hot dogs. Hot dogs are disgusting, you guys. Don't eat those.
You think so, but man,
No, they're delicious, but the concept of them is disgusting.
I know. If when you sit and think about a hot dog, absolutely. But I will tell you what
about these things though.
when you got nothing else but the hot dog sitting in the last one in a in the little Ziploc bag, and you throw that shit in, either boil it or throw it in the microwave or even light up the grill. Who cares? That shit hits the goddamn spot.
No,
hot dogs have got me. They have got me
smack.
through so many tough times of being broke and hungry. Nah, I will
This is
never
a question
have a negative.
about hot dogs. When you get outside of an event, are there hot dog ladies outside of there, or is that just a California thing? That's a question for the chat. When you get out of an event, every event in California, if it's at a venue, you go outside, there's people making hot dogs out on the street. Is that just a California thing?
That's
Is that
definitely some Cali shit.
that's
They not
Cali
doing that
shit?
here.
Oh wow.
They not doing it.
Yeah, late night hot dogs on the street. You get out and when I
Late
got
night
out of
hot dogs.
When I
What
got
is-
out of Battle of the Valley, there was like 10 hot dog vendors outside with the grills making hot dogs with bacon on them. That's just a California thing.
That's some Cali shit, bro.
All right.
That's us.
AEW Fight Forever. That is a video game coming out to consoles everywhere.
And I've been waiting, baby. It's been taking
Yes.
a long time.
I know. Thanks, everybody. There's your update. Nah, I'm kidding. All right, so-
It's a video game on consoles.
on consoles. Yeah. So, of course, one of the pieces of information that came out today was that Best Buy had updated people's pre-orders to now indicate that the game would be dropping on March 31st. That's only a month from now of 2023. The Best Buy website has that indicated. That's not the information I have, though. Everybody can find that one. But what I did learn today was that AEW this week, or recently, at least in the last 2 weeks, did film promotional material for the game, and it's being actively prepared right now, involving members of the roster who are in the game. So whatever's happening, it's happening very, very soon. They are definitely getting all the promotional material ready for that game.
Big deal. Big news.
That's my update.
March
That-
31st, possibly.
Yeah, so possibly. I mean, I think Best Buy wouldn't have updated that for no reason. And again, that they updated people's pre-orders to March 31st. So
somebody bring their video game console to WrestleMania weekend, and we'll have a tournament, you guys. Let's do
and it's updated across all consoles too. So I thought that was interesting that they went and updated every single SKU, the PS4 version, PS5, Xbox, Switch, PC, all of it is updated now to say March 31st. So something's happening involving that date. But as far as we do know, the again, promotional material was done very recently at AEW Dynamite tapings, and it's all being prepared right now.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Now, it is interesting that one of the things I've been seeing people talk about is the fact that, yeah, for the next, I mean, it's 2 weeks after 2K23. Let's see.
Classic AEW coming up behind WWE.
Hold on. Got a correction on that.
Shit.
That was never said it was at Dynamite. My bad. That was conjecture. Not at Dynamite. So
Immediate on the air update.
yes, on the update on
Fix
that.
it,
Hold
fix it,
on
fix
a
it,
minute.
fix it. Yeah. What did you guys make of, speaking of announcements this week? What did you guys make of the announcement this week? And going into the announcement, I knew it wasn't going to be a big thing. I knew people that were
the announcement. I'm like, what is Phil talking about?
the announcement from Dynamite.
Mm-hmm.
I knew people that were expecting something like Punk returning or something big were going to be disappointed, because I thought right away either it was going to be the UK shows or it was going to be something else content related, and so this was kind of in line with what I thought it was going to be. So it didn't really bother me, but I knew Twitter was going to Twitter.
It didn't bother me because I think AEW didn't hype it as much as people really think they did. Because when I think about the announcement of the first dance, like that to me is like the quintessential, like AEW has a big announcement, right? Like they put the big graphic up on the screen and they were like, next week, Tony Schiavone is going to announce a major event, and they let people speculate for an entire week, and they brought it up on Twitter multiple times, and I feel like they hyped up the announcement of the first dance. They never even said what the first dance was going to be, other than it's an event in Chicago, and then had Darby Allin drop that line, and it was like, oh shit, we got something big coming up here. So with this one, it was literally just something mentioned during the main event of Rampage, which, so like, it was literally just like a really quick passing thing. What was the main event of Rampage last week? It was the Swerve versus Dustin Rhodes match. And during that match in the corner, they're like, Tony Khan will have an important announcement this week. Also, we're going to see Evil Uno versus John Moxley. And I thought that was an interesting way to drop that. It was just very like quickly said.
The Excalibur's little spiel. It wasn't like an emphasized thing.
And it wasn't even like a full screen thing. It was literally in the main event. They're just like, also, Tony Khan has an important announcement, and we're going to see all these things. It was up on the screen less than 2 seconds when it was first announced. So that told me at the moment, this probably isn't a huge deal. And also, like, they've used different wording for things like that. Like they've said, Tony Khan has a huge announcement. Tony Khan has a major announcement. And this one said Tony Khan has an important announcement. And to me, that was like, okay, that feels company related. And so I feel like, as far as the announcement itself is concerned, I talked about on this show when Rhodes to the Top was airing. I said, I like Rhodes to the Top when it's not about Cody and Brandy at home. I like the behind the scenes stuff.
Right.
And for this to be basically that without the home life stuff, I can live with that. I actually am pretty okay with that. I just hope, because again, I said this on Day After Dynamite, but I'm going to repeat this point for those who have already heard this. One of my big beefs with Rhodes to the Top, I'm not saying that you have to protect kayfabe, but you should at least protect the timing of kayfabe.
Yes.
But I remember in October of 2021, it was right after Dynamite with in Orlando. The main event was Cody versus Malachi, and that was the one where he beat Malachi and did the golden shovel thing. But then right after that, they aired an episode of Rhodes to the Top, and the episode centered around the first time Malachi beat Cody. And they're showing the two of them talking about the match. And I'm like, I just watched these two have a match on TV where I'm supposed to believe that they don't like each other.
Protect the business a little bit, you guys.
But now you're showing me the very next show that aired is showing me Cody and Malachi discussing the match that they had back in August. Don't do that. And so I feel like this show airing after Dynamite, I don't know if it's a great idea if it's going to immediately peel back the curtain on what you've just watched. That's the part I would be concerned about. And I think that, because, like, I don't know. I recognize what reality TV does for professional wrestling fans. I recognize Total Divas was huge. And so I don't know. That's
crazy. What's going on in here?
Yeah, no, I'm just reading the chat right now. Sorry. But either way, I don't know. As far as the announcement is concerned, yeah, it does show faith in AEW. But also, this was something that was kind of announced a long time ago. So I know people are immediately jumping on it as, them giving AEW another show shows Warner Brothers Discovery has faith in the company. It does, but also keep in mind that like Roads to the Top got renewed for season 2 like a year ago. And then Cody left the company. So they've been stuck with this renewal on a reality TV program that they had to do something with. And so this is basically them moving forward on that second season of Roads to the Top.
Right. The thing that I took away from it is that it didn't really feel like an announcement because I was like, oh, well, we already knew about this. But it was an official announcement. The thing that I thought was funny about it was Tony coming on TV and having like the suit and tie. He looked like he was ready to explain what this was. And then he was like, yeah, and here's Adam Cole, and then gets off camera. I was like,
Tony has an important announcement. Here's Adam Cole. See you later.
Yeah, we're going to let Adam Cole have this announcement. Question about this. Does this mean that Adam Cole is not wrestling at Revolution? Does this mean his match is going to be on TV first?
That's what he said. He said that his return to TV will be the same night that the debut of AEW All Access hits. So something got delayed there. There's a few things I do find interesting, though. A lot of things make sense about this announcement, such as this show started filming back in November, possibly late October, but regardless, it was in the fall. That was around the time Sammy stopped doing the vlog on a regular basis.
Right.
And he's in this show. Totally makes sense now why the vlog stopped. But also, the Bucks are in this show. And I find that really interesting because the Bucks were adamant about not being in Roads to the Top, to the point of where there's a specific scene, I think it was at Daly's place, where there's things happening and you see everybody, but then you see somebody walk by and their face is blurred. And that was apparently like Matt Jackson, who just did not want to be on that show. And yet this will have stories centering around the Bucks.
But why?
So that brings me to some of the Cody press tour this week, and some of the things he said this week that I thought were extremely funny because I was like, it's Cody being Cody, man. When he gave that quote and he was saying, yeah, no, I still have a good relationship with the Elite, and there was never a problem. And I was just like, Cody. I was like, Cody,
Cody's hilarious.
You spent the last year of your time with that company not being on screen with these guys.
Yeah,
to say that there was never a problem. I'm not saying that these guys always had this huge beef. I don't know that to be true. But the way this looks from the outside looking in, it looks kind of crazy. And then the other quote was, of course, there is no war. Like, all the wrestlers get along. And I was just like, Cody, you smashed the throne.
You smashed the throne, big boy.
I mean, I'll say this. I get what he's saying from the perspective of the locker rooms because of the fact that I know for a fact that I know top WWE wrestlers who watch AEW on a regular and give feedback to each other. Little things like, as far as, hey, I watched this match on Dynamite. I thought it was really good. I thought this and this. And you know, there are AEW wrestlers who absolutely watch WWE TV.
Yeah, no. I'm not
disputing
that part about it. I'm not disputing that the wrestlers from both companies still get along. But for Cody Rhodes to say that after one, he smashed the throne. Y'all remember when this guy threw this random shot at Bailey out of nowhere when Kylie Ray was there? You helped to.
There's a war. Come on.
You helped to play into this perception that it's AEW versus WWE. So the fact that it's coming from you is extremely funny.
He's funny. He's He's just taking over the Seth Rollins company man thing at this point, I think.
Yeah, and I think the idea of I don't think anybody believes the idea that and Cody said that. He was like, as far as the companies are concerned, that's a different story. But as far as the locker rooms are concerned, the locker rooms are fine with each other. As somebody just said in the chat, the locker rooms are mostly fine with each other. The offices are not. Now, there are certain people who aren't liked on sides of the locker room because they've decided to play the company role and to take the company role and knock the talent in the other locker room. Because, like, you look at Corbin, for example, and Corbin deciding to tweet that one time about the 4-way tag match between Proud and Powerful, the Young Bucks, Kenny and Hangman, and Best Friends, and then Baron Corbin tweeted the vomiting gif where he's like, spot, 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 this is awesome, and mocking the whole match. And there were two things wrong with that, because this was during the Wednesday Night War, so all the comments were like, don't you have a show you're supposed to be watching? And so there's little things like that. But even still, even he gets along with plenty of people in the other locker rooms.
Yeah.
I mean,
but typically,
world champion be tweeting at his ass like they're friends. I mean,
yeah.
Look, and I mean, I get some of this as people working as well. But again, I just think the messenger is just so funny that Cody was the guy to say that.
Right.
Cody being the first guy to jump to WWE and saying that also is funny. There's just so many things about it that's
and when
funny.
people were like, "What's going to happen with Cody and Triple H when he gets there?" Like, they're they're
going to get along famously.
They're going to get along. You know what I am finding funny though? So of course, it was talked about how this coming weekend at house shows, Cody is going to be teaming with the Good Brothers, and so man, Bullet Club will never die. Like, when you think about the idea of we got the Trios champions on AEW television. Everything. There's so many Bullet Club callbacks right now still happening in a time where what's the deal with the Bullet Club? Because we now officially know that Jay White is out of New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Bullet Club member is going to be in the WrestleMania main event. Like, that's crazy.
I know, because like the Elite. The Elite was formed inside of the Bullet Club and exists as to me, it's still in my head a branch of the Bullet Club, even as they went their separate ways but kept the name The Elite. The reason they're the Elite is they were the Elite of the Bullet Club.
Right.
I think the Elite is basically like the Elite in wrestling, though. I think
but the trio, like that pose formed kicking AJ Styles out of the Bullet Club.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course. That is an interesting question because, where is this faction going without one Jay White, who I believe is the best leader of Bullet Club?
I was worried when I saw Dave Finlay hit the ring. I was like, oh no. I
didn't even think about that. I was
like, he's not the new leader, is he? And
no.
Once he started talking a little bit more, I was like, okay, he's not.
Yeah.
But that was my immediate thought was, oh no, he's about to reveal like a Bullet Club shirt, isn't he?
I mean, two things from this. Again, they are criminally misusing Eddie Kingston. He was tremendous on Saturday night.
It was great. He was great.
I think that match was great. I think the story of the match was great. It didn't have the long-term storytelling of the match with Hikuleo. It didn't have any of the dramatics of that match, but I feel like this was really good. I think the ending of it was perfect. I think after all this time of leading up to the bit of Jay White at the U.S. shows, raising the mic into the sky like he was going to say something and throwing the mic down and not actually saying something. And then he actually was going to say something this time, and then Finlay beat him up before he did it. I thought that was a great callback. And I think the Finlay stuff is just that was his longest standing rival was New Japan. That was the guy he came up with as a young lion. And I didn't feel like this is him trying to take his spot. This is them referencing that rivalry and saying, no, I'm going to finally be the guy to put you out. I didn't beat you, but I'm going to get my comeuppance on you because you beat me several times. I thought all this stuff was great. But
although I did hear, by the way, that Jay White was working people to the end. That people were asking him, like, so are you going to WWE? What are you doing? And he said, I'm going to win this match with Eddie Kingston. What are you talking about? I'm not leaving New Japan.
Of course, he's a pro. I thought everything he did in this match was great. Jay White is amazing. Whatever he does next, I'm looking forward to it. But, who is going to be the leader of this faction? Because it feels like it could be El Phantasmo if you've been following New Japan. I don't know. Maybe
I see
somebody
Chad
else.
talking about Chase.
God,
No.
Ew, erase
No,
that.
Chase is not going to be leader.
No, Chase Owens, the worst Bullet Club leader ever in history. Shut the faction down.
Yeah, so he said, "I'll take BC disbanding over Chase Owens."
Seriously, I'll take Bad News Fale over fucking whoever you guys just mentioned. I forgot his name because he's so boring.
Chase Owens. Yeah, I don't know who it could be, but yeah, it was interesting. We did get Bullet Club presence at the show. I think it's interesting, leading to my point that I think Jay White is the best leader. He's the only guy that did not get thrown out of the group. There was no mutiny. He was the only guy to outsmart them and not get thrown out. And Kenta was there. He was in the building. Your new New Japan Strong Champion. He also flipped off CM Punk in the crowd before he did a go to sleep.
He did.
That was great.
Yeah.
Wait, so I want to talk to you, Reg, about the experience.
Oh,
there,
right,
because, from a TV perspective, I watched the whole thing. If I ever needed proof, and you tell me as far as the people in the audience were concerned, but if I ever needed proof of who, and by the way, Bree Woo, love that name, by the way, says BC is cooked.
No, they're not. I think they're fine. I think all it'll take is another guy to step in as leader and change the direction. Because remember, people thought it was cooked before the Cutthroat era. People thought that it was cooked before Jay White stepped in, and he completely reinvigorated the group. All it'll take is a new leader to come in with a new motivation.
Right.
But what I was asking you, Reg, so the crowd on this show was okay. I felt like for a sold-out venue, I thought that they could have been louder. Until the Mercedes match, which told me
because of a reason.
But that told me who sold these tickets. That told me that there was a lot of people there that didn't know New Japan Pro Wrestling.
A lot.
There
was a lot of people. I was sitting there being like, "You would if the Mercedes wasn't here, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be here." There's people flying in. There's people that I seen those NXT ladies, they don't go to New Japan shows. They like flew into San Jose to go to New Japan. Like this, it was I saw, like I tweeted, I saw some beautiful black women there. Like there was some cool, like it was a different New Japan, the most different New Japan crowd I've ever seen. And it's all because of Mercedes. When her, before the shows, they play like stuff, graphics and things on the screen and stuff. When her videos came on, people are lit for her. Just saying her name, people are like, Mercedes. It was the pro Mercedes crowd, and she really brought a different flavor to New Japan that I never seen before. So they really struck gold for these 2 weeks before she goes back to the WWE.
Wow.
There's no way in the world that Sasha Banks is not going back to WWE. Mercedes Mone.
Mercedes Mone. Well, come on, bro.
Sorry, I appreciate it. But she's gonna be Sasha Banks again. She's going back.
Yeah, but I do think she works Forbidden Door. Which, speaking of which, there is now Spectrum Cable had dropped a little bit of a nugget that we have a date for Forbidden Door. That's at least the slot that AEW has reserved on cable systems for it. And so here we go, Forbidden Door 2. I don't know how you have Forbidden Door 2 without the IWGP Women's Champion, unless she loses it between now and then.
Well, that's kind of the Meltzer thing. Because the report came out that she's only committed to 2 more dates. But the way I read that is that she's committed to 2 dates with New Japan and Stardom. So those are the 2 Japanese matches. That doesn't mean that she is going to lose the title, and that doesn't mean that she's not committed to doing more with both of those companies eventually. That's just all she's on the books for. And I saw people saying that, those could be her final dates. We don't know that yet. She could still sign on for more dates. That's just what she signed on for now. And that doesn't mean that she will lose the title in that last match. I think it's on the 24th against potentially Mayu Iwatani, which sounds fire. I don't know. I do think that she wouldn't be saying all this time that she wants to take this belt everywhere if she wins it. That she would just do 2 dates and have two matches against Stardom wrestlers, and that's it. Yeah, I just don't see that. I think that she's going to do more, and even if she does lose the title in April, I do think she's going to do more with New Japan. I mean, if we're getting into the show and getting into how great this match was, this match was incredible. Probably, for my money, the best match on Saturday night. And going into Saturday night, I was the most excited about the main event. For Elimination Chamber, I was excited to see what Mercedes would do. But I absolutely think that Mercedes and Kyrie smashed it. I
blew it up.
I don't think anything on the card for Battle in the Valley was close. I think it was the best match on that card, and like I said, I think it topped everything else that weekend.
You know what I loved most about it? You know, I got annoyed at one point in this match because I thought it was an excellently worked match, and then, and granted, this was right after I watched Elimination Chamber, so I was already like annoyed with bad endings, right? I had just seen Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley have the stupidest ending imaginable. I had just seen an Elimination Chamber match where I thought it was a smart finish the way they kept the door open by working the Montez injury, but then like also I thought I just thought Austin Theory could have won a little cleaner. And then I've already talked about how I didn't like the ending with the 2 ref bumps. So I got triggered a little bit when a ref bump happened in this match, and I'm like,
No.
just saw ref bumps, and I'm not happy with ref bumps. But let me tell you, folks, one of the smartest ref bumps in a long time. Because the thing that this ref bump did was it didn't call the match, it didn't call the outcome of the match into question. That's where I hate ref bumps. That's where I hated it in the Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns match, where we saw a ref taken out. Oh, Sami had the match won. The ref just didn't see it because that shit makes no fucking sense because we live in an age where you have video replays. Like, I don't understand.
Yeah, why,
like,
and how did Jimmy not get thrown out of that match, by the way? The second
Yeah,
ref came running in right behind him and saw what he did and let him stay by ringside.
right.
He ran right by him.
Like, that doesn't make any sense today because, like, again, others, like, the whole idea of the ref bump was supposed to be kind of a play on sports where, hey, if the ref didn't see it, then it didn't happen. But the thing is, now sports have challenges. Now sports have video replays where refs can review things all along those lines, and yet wrestling is just like, you know, it didn't know what happened, and it played out in front of the fans, but it doesn't fucking matter.
The Battle of the Valley ref bump played into a great live moment, though, because in attendance, there was a lot of people in attendance. We've talked about it before here on Twitter and all this. Mercedes' best friend was in attendance. Her name's Bailey. She's a contracted World Wrestling Entertainment wrestler, so they didn't show her anywhere. But as the ref bump happened, she faked like she was going to run in, and it got a big pop. And that was amazing.
That is hilarious.
Like, she did like a creepy crawl, and people were like, "Oh shit!" And it was like that played into a really great moment with that ref bump. It was great to see Bailey. She's great. They brought her in a lucha mask, and like nobody knew what was happening. But she was so hyped for this match that she didn't keep the lucha mask on. You saw pictures of her online, and she stood up the
I saw pictures of her online.
Yeah, definitely. She stood up the entire time, cheering, yelling. She was the loudest fan in the room. Like, that's really her best friend. She loves everything. She loved that moment. And also in attendance, did you guys know? I happened to be in attendance with another Phil from Chicago there.
Yeah, no, we mentioned that because he got the big birds from Kenta when he did the go to sleep.
Yeah, like my little clip, my little tweet went viral this week of me saying that CM Punk had a Comic-Con style line formed to meet him, which was legit. And I guess that because a lot of people are like, "Oh my god, blah blah blah," this stuff going crazy, talking about Savannah shit. I was informed that people did ask security to break it up, but security said we only break it up if the person getting harassed requests to break it up. So, meaning that CM Punk didn't mind having a line of fans, and he liked taking pictures with them. So stop putting the narrative on this man.
This is a guy that is. I'm just watching. I've been watching what this guy's been doing for months, man, and it is very amusing to watch from afar. This guy is playing the game, buddy.
Yeah.
He is back outside, buddy.
He is
is changing the perception every time he does things. I've seen him. I show up with Lars, lead singer of Rancid. I've seen how he had that line. He's like, no. By all means.
It's fine.
I'll greet you. I'll take pictures. I'm not a bad guy to work with. Who told you that? And I've seen him show up at the premiere of Cocaine Bear with O'Shea Jr. I've seen it. The guy is back outside, bro.
You know what's
He
up?
is
No, he's trying
outside.
to change these narratives. He's fine. Like if he was still in AEW, he would have said, "Get out of here, all you loser fans." But
I don't think
yeah,
he would have
he
done that, but I do
definitely
think
not did.
that he knows. He
He
knows.
knows.
Yeah,
He knows how to do it.
He knows
I've
people are
watched-
paying attention to him.
Yeah.
I've watched CM Punk give fans the time of day, and literally, there was the first time I ever met CM Punk, and this was less than a year ago, and we were just kind of having a good conversation. We were joking that Fightful was the place that spoiled his return. and he was like, "Hey, however you guys want to make money, whatever." He's like, "Because
I don't know if
Look,
that was
you
from
guys wanna
jokes
make
because
money.
that was real.
yeah, I know. I mean, look, it did, right? I don't think Fightful would be where it is today without that scoop. The scoop that CM Punk's returning to pro wrestling, that was the one
game.
that changed the game, right? And yeah, we were joking about that, and a fan had walked up to him and was like, "Excuse me, can I get a picture with you?" And like, you could see some slight annoyance in his face, but he
Yeah.
was like, he said, "Yeah, let's hurry up." But yeah, absolutely, let's do it. He definitely had the, I want to rush this along, but he did not do it. So,
Have I ever told you the first time I ever met CM Punk anywhere?
you have told that story. Are you telling it on a podcast?
There's two different ones. So
Okay.
the first time I've ever seen him, I was walking into a comic convention, and like, I don't know if you've ever been to a convention. Like, it's just a mass of people. Like, there's not like lines. It's just a mass of people. So I get in, and I'm like I'm looking around, and I turn next to me. CM Punk's standing next to me, and I was like, "Oh, yo, CM Punk!" And you could tell he was in a hurry, and he was just like, hey," and I was like, I just was like, "Fan, nice to meet you," and he was just like, "Oh, thanks," and that was it. And this was me reading the room. Lesson to fans.
Right.
Read the room.
Read the room.
This was
Read
me
the room,
reading
yeah.
the room. It
Because
looked like
most
he was.
people would have been like, "All right, well, what about WrestleMania? Blah blah blah. Let's talk about it."
What do you think about Roman?
I know, because like mine was a situation where I had Swerve introduce me to him, and he comes over and he's just like, "Hi, I'm Phil," and I'm like, "No, you're fucking not. You're CM Punk." Oh, Phil.
Yeah,
Who is this?
What do you mean?
I know. It was interesting because like in a non-wrestling situation, and a non he's not even like autograph signing anything along those lines. It's a very just kind of casual situation. He's like, "Yeah, I'm Phil." And
Yeah. So
I'm like, yeah, I know.
Yeah, so yeah, read the room. But the thing that made this funny to me is that again, it seemed like he was in a hurry to find out where he was going. And he couldn't have looked any more like worried that I said, "Hey, CM Punk," because I think he looked around like, "Oh no, have other people spotted me?" And I was just like, "No, it's cool. It's cool."
This guy knows I'm CM Punk. Does everyone know I'm CM Punk? Gotta
Yeah,
get the fuck with it.
And he was just like, he like I said, he couldn't have been any nicer in the moment, even though he was in a hurry. But I feel like you could just definitely see the worry across his face, like, "Oh no."
Like,
At
shit.
the end, though, when I was walking back up, like I left out of the arena and I came back because I heard Mercedes's song playing to come back and be with Okada.
Mone.
But he like at the end he like ran
Mone.
out. I don't think he wanted to do it again. So I just seen him run by me like so fast to like get to his car. Like, I did it. I don't want to do it again. And then you see Lars behind him. Like, damn, that's CM Punk. That's really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, great show, man. I had really.
So I want to talk about the ref bump real quick. I know we got like way off track on that ref bump. The reason I like that ref bump was because it wasn't used to fuck you out of a finish. It was simply used in that moment to suspend the rules of the match.
Right.
When it happened and you see the look on Kyrie's face and she gives that, "Oh, it's on now." And then they like brawl outside and all of that and they do the table spot. And I appreciated that for a ref bump. I like how like, hey, we're in the confines of the rules of this match right now. But as soon as that ref is out, all bets are off. And then they
'Cause
just start going at it.
We're conditioned to ref bump interference. Ref
Yeah.
bump means somebody else is going to come out. That's what.
Yeah, or a
people,
ref
as
bump,
soon as a
it's-
ref bump happens, like look to the entrance to see who's coming.
Yeah, or something along the lines of somebody's going to get pinned and the ref didn't see it, so now the finish isn't a question.
Right.
And none of that happened. In this case, it was just a matter of, okay, now we're
Now we
really
can
going
get
to
the
fight.
tables.
Yeah, now we're going to fight. Now more is about to happen because the rules of the match are out for a second. That's a good use of a ref bump. I don't like the
I'm gonna
ref
call
bump.
that storytelling. Ooh, wow.
Wow, I love it.
Yeah, look, man. I think I know this was Mercedes' time to shine. This was her big debut. This was her weekend. Kyrie was fantastic.
Oh, Kyrie's
and I think she was a great inaugural champion for the short period that she had that belt. I think that she served her purpose. I think that we've gotten into this era of wrestling where everything has to be long range, and if it's not a long reign, it's a failure. I don't think her reign was a failure at all. 0%. I think she did what she needed to do. Regardless,
Tokyo Dome, she wrestled Mercedes, like all kind of great shit.
Regardless of
short reign's a failure. Ooh, the people are really going to be bad about MJF.
I mean, look, man, I just think that, fans will do what fans do because fans come into these things with expectations. But no, Kyrie will always be known as the first IWGP Women's Champion, no matter what. She will be the woman that brought that belt to the Tokyo Dome.
And she probably will have it again, I'd say, before it's all said and done.
But and I think that she's also going to still do stuff with Stardom. I think she's not done there. I think she will end up challenging for the white belt soon. I don't know. So I'm not upset with her losing. I think some people might be, but I thought she had a great showing. It wasn't like she got squashed here. This was a competitive match.
Yep. She could have won.
She was close to winning this match at several points. I thought this was great. I think anybody worried after Wrestle Kingdom that they were going to cut this match. No, this was the longest match on the card.
It was on a match that card that features Okada and Tanahashi in the main event.
Yeah,
that's a big deal. Huge deal.
Yeah. And guys, I'm not dropping spoilers. That was literally just I see the chat is like, "Whoa, dropping spoilers." They're like, "Whoa, what do you know?" No, look, I just want Brian to win that match. I am
getting the feeling he's going to win.
I am getting that feeling too. Yeah, I'm like a lot of things I'm feeling as far as that's concerned, and like also,
it's going to be us next Sunday.
Nikki talked about the fact that Brie is going to be at this show, and like Brie's been at Dynamites and stuff like that before, but I find it interesting that is she there just to see Brian's performance, or is she going to be there for Brian's moment? I don't know, but
interesting.
She's really excited about Iron Man. She's like, I just really want to see you wrestle for an hour. I don't care who wins.
Yeah, she's in. She doesn't have to help Nikki plan the wedding and whatever else she was doing on that other show now, so she's free to do these things. But this match was incredible. I thought if as a debut match in her first non-WWE match since 2012, which sounds insane.
That's crazy.
I thought she knocked this out of the park.
The gear, the tribute gear, everything around in it.
Yeah, I thought the tribute to Hannah was great. I loved afterwards.
Yeah, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I loved afterwards seeing all the women like Jungle Kiona, who was friends with her, being very gracious about it and being happy that she did that. Hannah's mother also came out and said thank you for that. I thought all that stuff was great, and it went on to show all those people that's like, no, she's done with wrestling. This woman loves wrestling, and you could see it. You could see how much she missed wrestling. You could see how much she paid attention to stuff outside of WWE.
And you can see she's been in them lucha gyms. Them Mexico trips have paid off because she was going ham with that.
She was crisp. The offense looked crisp. I think anybody that whined about the finish at Wrestle Kingdom, I thought the finisher looked 10
way
times better
this time.
Way better, absolutely.
I thought this was great. I thought this was a big success for her. I thought it was a big success for New Japan as well because they brought in new fans to watch this. Even though it started late, they were definitely on CP time.
I'm not convinced that wasn't waiting for Roman. I think they were just trolling us. They were definitely waiting for Roman to be done.
Well, I mean, it seemed like they had some technical issues. I mean, the production.
I mean, I could see what.
I don't know if that was real. I think they were capping.
But this was. I thought this was a great weekend for wrestling, and I think that she came out of this proving by far that she is everything that she says she is. That she is the draw she says she is. And then getting to come out of this, the not even days later that the UTA news came out that she signed on with a talent agency.
Ain't never getting that interview.
No, I feel like she.
She's out of here.
Yeah, I feel like she's letting people know that like she's ready to move on to the next parts of her career, but she's not completely closing the door on wrestling. And like I said, I feel like if this is what she's going to be doing with the last few years of her career, I'm in, man. If this is more matches with Joshi wrestlers, I'm in. If we're getting the Mickie James match, give me the Mickie James match. Give me all the matches. I'm ready for it. And I mean, again, people that were concerned about this, that It didn't look like they were going to main event. They were co-main eventers here. Again, they had the longest match on the card.
And they brought her out last.
She closed the
They main
show
evented.
with Okada, which is
Yeah.
a huge deal.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, they're fully invested in Mercedes. I think that if they can
They
get
may
her
have been
back,
at them. Sasha stands were at the door as soon as that 1, 2, 3 hit for sure. They was out of there.
I mean, they missed a good Okada.
They missed a great match.
Yeah, they
missed a
don't
great
care,
Okada
though.
match.
They don't care.
I mean,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, I think this was great. This was successful, and if we are talking about Black history, because this is still Black history, I feel like this was a historic moment, not just for her, but just for Black women. To have a Black woman be the first woman to go to New Japan and be signed and then be the first IWGP Women's Champion, that's a huge moment. And I feel like for Mercedes to have that on her belt, like just another great accolade and an incredible career.
This is why they play Phil the Big Bucks. You see how he brought that around?
Yeah,
What a
no,
guy.
look, man.
What a guy.
I mean, by the way, I don't think I gave my Black History moment last week. We laughed about this before we started recording. For me, on the topic of Mercedes, I think that my favorite Black History moment, probably one of my favorites at least, is seeing her main event WrestleMania. I think that is a huge moment, and that's one of those things that is going to have a lasting impact on wrestling. It's going to have a lasting impact on a lot of fans.
Yep.
Just
And
her getting
that
to
match
main,
bang too.
yeah, it was a great match. Her getting the main event with another Black woman in Bianca. I mean, we've never seen that before, and that's just an incredible event. And just them, everything that's going on since then. Bianca has continued to be that chick afterwards. Getting the SB win off of it, just an incredible moment.
Yeah, Sasha.
And
There's a
shout out
lot
to-
of them at this point, honestly. Mercedes, I keep saying that. You are who you are. We know you.
And shout out to Ian Riccaboni, because I thought his introduction for her, running down her list of accolades, was amazing.
Ian Riccaboni's tremendous on the commentary for sure.
Yeah.
Ian Riccaboni. Now, somebody bring their console to WrestleMania weekend for sure. Let's get this Fight Forever tourney going. Who wants some? I just want to hear my song. That's it. I don't really care about the rest of it.
So, I did want to note to the folks out there that, of course, with
Your report was wrong. You got a new update. They're like, actually, all that Fight Forever shit was a joke. Retracted, Will Washington.
no, all of my Fight Forever stuff was accurate. But, of course, with this being February and this being the end of February, that probably means that you're probably well on your way to achieving all of those fitness goals that you've achieved, that you set for the new year, if you started some. But if you're like me, you might struggle to get motivated sometimes. To me, that's the biggest hurdle. But luckily, the Fitbod app has everything you need to get going and hit the goals that you've been targeting. Don't go into the gym aimlessly. Get a fitness plan that's cheaper than a single session with a personal trainer. I've been using Fitbod since last year, back when I was a solid 30 pounds heavier than I am today, and I'm more active than I've ever been. But it's still important to maintain those achievements and set new goals. And whether you've fallen off track or you've hit your goals and are ready for some new ones, Fitbod's algorithm changes and updates your fitness plan as you go and helps you find the results you're looking for. Just pick a fitness goal, add your equipment, and Fitbod will create a routine for you. Whether you've been missing gym time or you've hit a plateau, a fresh start has never been easier. The app switches up your exercises to avoid overtraining or burnout, and your program changes based on your personal progress for maximized results. Whether you work out in the weight room or your bedroom, Fitbod has a plan for you. Learn new movements the right way with over 1,400 HD demonstration videos. A full year of Fitbod is less than the cost of a single session with a personal trainer. Join Fitbod today and build a routine that lasts all year. Get 25% off your subscription and try the app free at fitbod.me/Grapsody. That's FITBOD.me/GRAPSODY.
Yep. We out
Yep.
here, baby.
Yeah.
Fitbod. It's Fitbod, kids. It's Grapsody.
Fitbod.
Hey, shout out to the homie. It's Quentin on Twitter for that DM. That's cool. I'm gonna watch Kang. Wait, can I watch Kang yet? Or
No, I
Kang
don't
just
think
came
Ant-Man
out?
is on there yet.
Okay. I want to see Creed. Actually, I haven't been to the movie theater in a long time, and I want to go and
Creed
watch
looks great.
Creed looks
definitely
really
excited
good.
for that.
Yeah, I saw the trailer, and I was like, man, this looks like it's gonna hit. I might have to pull up.
I was looking at all of the upcoming movies for the year and realizing, fuck, I have a lot of movies to see and not a whole lot of time. Like June alone, I convinced my son to have his birthday party at the movie theater this year. Because like he's a big Spider-Man.
Why is he doing your birthday party?
No, because he's a big Spider-Man fan, and so like his birthday is right around the time that Into the Spider-Verse 2 comes out, and so I was like, well, they do parties at the theater. Like, what if you like invite you can like rent out a theater and like watch the movie? And so I'm like, Billy, why don't you invite your friends? We'll do like cake and ice cream, and then we'll like all go in the theater and watch Spider-Man. Like
good,
not bad. It's not a bad idea, right? So he's that's his favorite movie. He has seen Into the Spider-Verse. I know the audio of that movie so well because it's always on in the background. There's like never a time where at least once a week I can hear, needless to say, I keep it in check. She was a bad, nevertheless. Like all day, at least once a week I hear that song for the last, whether that movie come out 4.5 years ago.
Yeah.
It's a good movie, though. It's definitely one of the all-time greats.
Got Metro Boomin on the soundtrack. Come on.
Yeah, no, my dude, Trev Rich is on the soundtrack. And Trev Rich did the theme song to RBR back in 2009.
Oh, damn, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I've always been proud of watching him blow up. He's Denver's own Trev Rich, signed to Cash Money, and got on the Into the Spider-Verse soundtrack. That's always such a cool thing. But yeah, for those who have been listening a long time to RBR stuff, he did the old theme song from what year was that? 09. The Every Saturday, right? Was better than wrestling every Saturday night. That was Trev Rich. But anyway, so I want to read some more super chats. We got so many. I want to get caught up on these. So let's go over to, actually, before we get to super chats, let's do humper chats. What was the last humper chat I read, I guess, is the question.
I don't think it was Hogan. I think it was after that.
I think I have it because we got a lot of humper chats. Okay, here we go. Tony P says, top 5 for the week, Billy versus Emmy. I heard good things about that match. I didn't get a chance to catch Billy Starks versus Emmy Sakura. MJF, Danielson confrontation. Uno versus Mox. Mercedes quote tweeting Public Enemies. That
big week for the Public Enemy guys, man.
Big week for
them. On. Good for the guys, man.
And Mina's tweet bodying Mercedes. I know it's Black History Month, but I was dying.
Yo, Mina came prepared for that exchange. I don't know if Mercedes was ready for how hard that Mina was going to come back. No, all of these Joshi wrestlers are coming for Mercedes' throat, and I love it.
No, I love that. They're all, they know the assignment. Get a match. Like if I could get her into something, maybe I'm gonna get a match. So I'm gonna go at her. I love it. Everybody should do that.
Speaking of women's wrestling, by the way, shout out to my dear friend Maria Kanellis, and happy birthday, Maria.
Happy birthday, Maria.
It is February 25th, and it is Maria's birthday. And she was a guest here on Grapsody not too long ago.
And shout out to them. They're going to be out there at the Ring of Honor tapings this weekend. Shout out to everybody at the Ring of Honor tapings happening this weekend. It's going to be a big, big deal.
Yeah. Speaking of that Brian segment, that did kind of prove my point from last week that Dynamite is better with Brian on it.
Phil was right again.
I feel like this week's Dynamite was night and day compared to last week. And I feel like that segment with MJF was really good. MJF coming out and possibly using real world stuff to once again try and make himself look like the victim, because that's what MJF does. I tweeted at one point during the show that a lot of his promos feel like a cry for help, but that's what they're supposed to do. It's supposed to make you feel like this guy is the victim here, but of course he's not. He's a liar. That's always who he is. He's an opportunist, and that's what he's doing here. He took this opportunity to take something that is really sad in his life to go, yeah, by the way, Brian, go home. Nobody wants you here.
That was a hell of a promo. Every time you're in the ring, you're disrespecting me. I loved it. Yeah.
I thought that whole segment was great. I thought this week's Dynamite was much better all around. I thought the opening match was tremendous. Wheeler Yuta is that guy.
Oh my God, that was crazy. That was my favorite Orange Cassidy defense so far.
Yeah, I will no longer accept any orange slander.
The transitions that they had, that finishing thing, the double kick out by
the match opened really well. Like honestly, and I tweeted, I said that look, anybody who says that Orange Cassidy, who doesn't talk about Orange Cassidy as a top tier professional wrestler, doesn't know what they're talking about.
They haven't seen him in the last year if they say that shit still.
And the beauty of it was that a lot of people told on themselves in the comments of that. And I was like, all I responded to anybody who said anything negative, I was like, case in point. Because I'm like, okay,
they
yeah.
killed it.
Oh, and shout out to Max. I hope he's recovering well, MJF, because he that Bryan Danielson shot was a real shot. So I hope that Max is okay, because that looked very scary. Recovering.
Yeah, but no, this definitely got me excited for the main event. I was already excited for the main event of Revolution, but the more these two are on TV together, I think they just have good chemistry in their segments together. I am super excited for this.
And both of my brothers here believe that Bryan Danielson is going to be the new AEW World Champion next week.
I kind of have a feeling he's winning.
Wow.
And you know what, though? Guys, this is Revolution Week. And with this being the week of Revolution, your boy's got some interviews coming up.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so, and that's interviews, plural. So, well, stay tuned for those.
We got a lot to talk about with what happened last night with one of these people, right? Am I right?
We do. Yeah, we do. We'll be talking about it's cool. One's a really anticipated one, actually. One of these actually goes back to the first episode of Grapsody.
Legit, the very first episode of Grapsody. Yeah,
yes, and I actually want to talk about that a little bit.
I'm excited.
I'm excited for both of these interviews. They're actually, they're super excited.
Yeah,
can't say too much, but
we can't say too much, and there might be more than that. So we're working on them. We're working on basically locking down. There's going to be some content this week out of Grapsody.
Revolution, baby.
Yep. So Revolution Week,
and both of my brothers are pulling up.
Oh
shit.
Yes, although Phil won't be there in time for the one thing that is happening, which is that so AEW announced the regular thing they do, which is the AEW bowling, which you're doing right before Revolution, and I know that me, Reg, and Denise will be there and bowling. We have a lane. So if you're
got a lane.
Yes, we have a lane, actually.
It's always important to stay in your lane, guys.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I actually really appreciate all of that. But yeah,
Big homie's gonna be out there. I talked to him. He said he's gonna pull up. Yeah, it's gonna be cool.
Yep, he's there. It's Saturday, March 4th, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Classic Bowling. It's at 900 King Drive in Daly City, California. Pull up. I don't think if you just want to come watch it, I don't think tickets are that much. I think they're only like $10.
You want to watch some amateurs bowl? What's this?
You want to watch Righteous Will and Righteous Reg and Will Washington and Denise?
Look, there's others that are going to be bowling though. You get to see like Powerhouse Hobbs is going to be there.
I wonder how hard he's going to throw a ball. I don't know.
Yeah, Orange Cassidy and Aubrey Edwards. Jake the Snake's going to be there. You'll get to meet some people.
This is cool. Last time there was last year they did the karaoke thing, and that was super fun. It'll be along the same same lines.
Yeah, so come through, come bowl, come say hi to me.
It's already been a year since we were in Florida, huh? That's crazy. We had the concert. It's been a big change in the year. Damn,
big change. But yeah, come see me, Reg, and Denise. Phil's plane doesn't arrive till because it goes from 4 to 7. You don't land till 6:30, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so Phil won't be there, but
we will all be in San Francisco at the Chase Center next Sunday for Revolution.
Yep, and we will be in the media scrums getting our questions scrutinized by social media. Definitely. So we also have, let's see, we got another super chat. This one is from, let's see, Meet Normus says, it was 80 degrees on Thursday. It's currently snowing right now. Hug your loved ones. The end is near.
This weather.
Global warming, baby.
It was snowing in Oakland, bro. Yeah, I know.
In Oakland.
We've
in
had,
Oakland, there was snow. It's crazy.
I know. I was looking forward to, one of the things I thought I was looking forward to with Revolution was weather, but it looks like it's going to be cold.
Yeah, I've been freezing my little balls off over here for sure. It's cold as hell. I don't want to tell you guys the numbers because every time I tell numbers.
No, I mean, honestly, it looked cold. It said high of 45. I'm like, damn, that's cold. So I know I have to dress warmly, and I wasn't.
Yeah, and over the bridge too, close to San Francisco, it gets extra cold over here. It's a lot different than it is in Oakland over there.
Yeah, so dress warm, folks, next weekend.
Got great lawyers for cops who dress warm.
Hey, you bringing your Tim boots, Phil? You got Tim boots?
No, probably not. Probably not. That's more of a New Yorker thing. They're the Tims in every weather, guys.
Let's see. We got Van Twinblade says, yo, just over 24 hours, baby. Card update. Because Rohit Raju is a dweeb and a coward, Karam will face Xavier Walker, and the TJPW Princess Tag titles will be on the line when Wasteland War Party takes on Blair Onyx and Jody Threat. Watch on Fight Plus.
Nice. I guess he's talking about Glory Pro. If you guys didn't know, it's Van Twinblade. And if you don't have Fight Plus, if you have $4.99, honestly, you can see a lot of really great wrestling on Fight Plus.
Let's see. And Atlas Earth says, with the ROH taping starting this week, I have some questions. What would weekly ROH TV have to do to get subs when there is so much great wrestling online for cheap? For cheaper, like Fight TV Plus / IWTV. Also, does Fightful intend to review the show? I mean, look, Reg is campaigning for this.
I'm trying. I'm already put my bid out.
I campaigned for it. I told Sean straight up. I was like, look, I think Reg is the right guy to review ROH on Fightful. And so... and I said that like a month ago.
I've been watching Ring of Honor since 2002. Since it started, I got my first Ring of Honor tape in 2002. I know a lot about the history. I know a lot about Ring of Honor. I'm very excited about it. As far as the question, I think it's gonna a lot of ROH faithfuls are already subscribed to the service. I think they're just gonna have to put together a lot of great wrestling shows and a lot of great wrestling angles. We're gonna see after this weekend how the shows kind of shape up and how they promote it, because when they were promoting Ring of Honor on the AEW TV shows, a lot of people didn't like them. So I don't know how they're going to go forward with promotion.
I think ultimately it doesn't need it, because I don't think that's what this is about. I think that what this is about is selling a show. I think that if they can build a show people like, that
if they build it, they will come.
But I think if they build a show that people like and is well done, then Tony now has the content. Because I think that was the hard part with selling Ring of Honor to Warner Brothers Discovery in the way he's been trying to, which is, what is Ring of Honor at this stage? What is the show? You don't have a show to sell us.
Right.
And so I think that a lot of it right now is build a library of shows and then turn around and go to any network and say, this is what we have. But I don't think they have anything to sell right now. And I think they thought that they could maybe do it via AEW programming, and they weren't biting on that.
Library, that's not enough. It wasn't enough for people.
Yeah, I think they need to sell what the weekly show is. And so this is what I truly think it's about. I think they're just trying to make the show, because then if they can get even the subscribers they have, even if it's just like a few thousand, if they can take those subscribers and get those people talking about it positively, it's kind of that NXT effect, where NXT was a show that really just, I think the percentage was a very small percentage of people who had the network were actually watching it. But those people who were very loud and
hardcore
buzzing about it. And they talked about it as, hey, you're missing this NXT thing. Like, you're not watching, you're missing it. And they made it seem like the best thing that people weren't watching. And that sold USA Network on it. And then it came to the network or USA Network, and then people saw it. And
the taping schedule is kind of the thing that's I'm nervous about. I'm nervous about a couple of things. Is the taping, how they're doing it? Are they going to tape in the same place that they tape Dark? Is it going to look any different? Like, everything kind of surrounded it has gotten me kind of like, I need to know more.
I know Jeff Jarrett's involved, and he talked about wanting to beef up those tapings because, he's been around Universal Studios tapings. He did Impact there for a long time, and he talked about how he wanted to create some hype in those, create some buzz in those, and create some to increase the energy in the presentation. So I wonder if he's got some input on these Ring of Honor tapings that'll add to it. I guess we'll know soon because they're taping here in very shortly.
Couple hours.
Yeah.
So shout out to Jarrett.
Double J.
I laughed very hard when he won the Battle Royal this week. And I know
interesting choice.
I know some people were like, "Oh man, you probably hated it." I was like, "No, I didn't hate it. I thought it was hilarious because this is such a Jarrett thing, and I think it makes sense for them to be in the match. I don't know why it needs to be a multi-man match. I don't know why it needs to be 4 teams, but if you're gonna put another team in there and it's just another heel team, I don't mind it being Jarrett. I've enjoyed Jarrett on AEW television. I think they're on TV a lot, but I've enjoyed them, so I wasn't mad at it. I thought it was hilarious. As for what they can do with Ring of Honor, I think the key here is exactly what Will said. The thing that really made NXT special was building to takeovers, and I feel like they already have a good streak of good pay-per-views, and so I feel like they need to use the weekly shows to build to those pay-per-views and get people interested. And I also think the way to do that is to build trajectories for new people that they've brought in with AEW. If you now know that the place to follow Willow's trajectory up is the Ring of Honor weekly television show, you're going to tune in. If you know that you're moving Top Flight over there, for example, and Top Flight is going to be a premier team on that show, that'll get people interested to watch. I think the disconnect with AEW fans is I don't want to feel like I'm watching those things happen concurrently on one show.
Right.
If you got Top Flight doing this thing over here and I can watch it and it's good wrestling, I'm more interested in that than it feeling like something from Ring of Honor is sidetracking AEW storylines.
That's a really good point. I like that. Yeah, I think that I think this will ultimately be good for AEW in the sense that, because what I want to see this do is allow Tony to focus AEW on its stars. Because I think if he has the ability to give a weekly developing program to some of the guys who he tends to, or he plans on developing, I think he can focus Dynamite on the star players and then, kind of pluck from Ring of Honor as he needs to and vice versa.
Right.
So, yeah, we'll see. We got another one here. This one is from Halabasana saying, can you see Riho beating Tony next week and going after Jade on the pay-per-view? Or is this how she enters the Outsiders versus Homegrown feud? Either way, I hope she gets a pay-per-view match, especially since we're not getting that fire FOTR ladder match on the show. Face of the Revolution is what he means. I would love for Riho to challenge Jade. I think Riho could give Jade possibly her best match ever. Definitely. I think Riho could very much play a Rey Mysterio type of escape and outsmart type of match with Jade Cargill. And I think it would be the kind of match she needs.
Speaking of Jade, she tweeted and deleted earlier this week. How y'all feel about that?
Yeah, I don't know. I think Rio should win this match, by the way. I think Rio should beat Tony because I think she needs to win more because she hasn't been on TV.
Right.
I don't think Tony loses anything by losing this match.
Not to Rio.
No. And so I wouldn't mind Rio winning here. And I don't dislike Tony currently on television. I think she's been great as a heel. I think her character has been better. Some of the stuff that I don't enjoy is just the fact that there's no clear direction with her and Saraya, and some of the Saraya stuff hasn't worked as well with Tony. I did think Saraya had a good match this week. I thought Sky Blue brought out a good match in her. You could still see some of that rust because I feel like she wasn't as mobile as I expected in this match. She was kind of slow at times, but I still think this is one of probably her best match with AEW so far, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, the problem was having Tony on the outside, and like Tony, when she hit that snap suplex on Sky Blue, I thought, God, that looked 10 times better than anything Saraya did in the ring.
But I love it.
But it was better. I agree.
Yeah, I loved all the callbacks to the AJ Lee stuff as well. I think Sky Blue doing the octopus stretch in here is great. I think bringing back the PTO for the finish for this match was a good call as well because it still looks like a tremendous finisher. I don't know. I going into this match and Ruby coming out at the end, I tweeted this last night. I kind of want Ruby to win. I'm in on what Ruby's been doing since
over Jamie. Jamie,
Well, I'm not done with Jamie yet. I think
I gotta know.
Yeah.
I just don't want her to take a big win in a big match as well. I feel like they've
because she hasn't had that big win yet.
Yeah, they've gotten her to the big match several times and she keeps losing. I feel like she's due a big win at this point.
Jamie's hot though.
I know, but I wouldn't be mad.
And it hasn't been that long. I don't know. I could see it going that way though.
I wouldn't be mad.
Yeah.
Let's see. We got Dom says, Will, Phil, and Reg. It's WrestleMania or it's WWE Hall of Fame season. Who would each of you like to see get in this year? My pick is the model Rick Martel.
I like that.
Put Jazz in because she belongs in there.
Yeah. Jazz.
There's rumors that Batista's headlining. I saw.
Right.
I don't know what the story on that is. Of course, he was supposed to go in 2020, but then pandemic happened, and so
this makes sense. Hollywood. He's a big Hollywood star. I like Big Dave going in as the number one.
Burton Jean sees what I'm saying. I also think it's a good story that Ruby would be the first one in the company to pin Saraya. I wouldn't be mad at it. That's all I'm saying. Wouldn't be mad at it.
Diver Digital says, do you think we get any New Japan talent in AEW Fight Forever, or am I way off? Forbidden Door in the game? I think, honestly, if it's a game they plan on updating for a few years, I would love to see either Japanese talent or independent talent sign deals to basically get their likeness in the game. I think that would be good for everybody. So, yes, that would be a thing I'd like to see. I don't know if it's going to happen. Let's see. We got a couple more. And by a couple, I mean a lot more. I really got to get caught up on these. Thank you so much, everybody who supported, and I love reading everybody's messages. And let's see. Big Hero Chris says, I feel like Jay is going to cost Roman the titles. Alexander says, Bray Wyatt is the Jamarcus Russell of wrestling. This man finessed 2 regimes out of millions to produce his wacky short films and wrestle awful matches, all while swearing it'll pay off eventually. # salute that man.
Hey man, that guy's winning, man. He's getting paid he's getting paid money to take minimum bumps. He looks like he has a beautiful family at home. Hey man, winning.
Shout out to the Pro Wrestling Podcast just for the super chat. And let's see what else we got.
Man, last night, what was this shirt that Jimmy Uso was wearing? This thing had like a zipper that went from the bottom. At first, I thought it was a pocket when he was sitting down, but then when he stood all the way up, I was like, no, that zipper extends all the way to the bottom of the shirt. What is this shirt, bro? What is this?
Yeah, I saw Emilio's tweet about the zipper on the shirt. What is it for?
Yeah.
Let's
Looking
see.
like the Michael Jackson jacket with all those zippers. That was 50 cents.
Uriel says, y'all think there would ever be an independent wrestling Hall of Fame?
There is.
I mean, there is, but I think he's talking about a physical one, a global one with memorabilia and such. Maybe we can get Jimmy to fund it. Yeah, because I mean, there is, cheerleader Melissa's actually going into the Indie Wrestling Hall of Fame this year. Shout out cheerleader Melissa. But as far as I guess a physical one, I mean,
Probably
where would you locate it? Where would you consider the indie wrestling mecca?
Philly. Either Philly or New York. But probably Philly, just because ECW. And everything surrounding it. And everybody's been trying to be ECW since they started. So that's probably where I'll put it. But I don't think there's still independent wrestling's probably the best it's ever been right now to me in ring. And there still ain't no money in it. So who's going to pay for this? Promoters are still the worst. Wrestlers are still getting screwed out of money. No one would pay for that.
Yeah, no.
That's all it is.
Jake Salazar says Bray Wyatt is the hot dog water of wrestling.
Jake, we know you like Bray. We know you dislike Bray, man. It's okay. We know.
Zero Prime says, all I'm going to say said is if Riho is going to take L on Wednesday from being gone so long, Will, you're going to hear me on Dad be a super salty Joshi fan.
Yeah. I can see her losing, though. I think she should win, but I could definitely see her losing.
I could see her getting like a quick flash pin.
Tony's not in the pay-per-view match, so I could probably see her taking an L, actually.
Tyrone Kidd says, "Hey, Will, I think you missed my humps on Dad. I'm sorry if I did. I try to keep an eye on those the whole show because I see there's a few humper chats. But let me know what it was, and I'll try and read that." Crusher X says, "Disagree, Will. People don't crap on bad movies anymore. Marvel and Disney, Star Wars are the biggest franchises now. Cocaine Bear will thrive."
People don't crap on bad movies as cap.
I mean,
It's absolutely cap.
I mean, well, that's the thing is that my issue really is that people don't see bad movies anymore. I feel like,
yes,
I think people have become so reliant on reviews these days that you can almost guarantee a movie is going to bomb if it doesn't have at least a good Rotten Tomatoes score. Like and it's kind of tough now for bad movies to do well. I don't think Cocaine Bear was a bad movie, by the way. I saw Cocaine Bear. It's very stupid, but look, it didn't advertise itself as anything but a movie with a bear who's on cocaine.
If you went in expecting some Martin Scorsese type thing, you were in the wrong movie. Like,
that's your fault.
Yeah, exactly.
And literally, the opening notes of the movie is Jane by Jefferson Starship. Literally, I saw the movie Wednesday and was kind of annoyed that I had to miss Dynamite, and then which of course had the opening match of Orange Cassidy versus Yuta, and as soon as I thought my phone was on, I thought I had like TBS on my phone because all of a sudden in the theater I hear and I'm like, what the fuck, Jane? And I'm like, oh shit, it's Jane. I'm like, I'm getting Orange Cassidy's theme song on this movie. This already rules. Yeah, I saw the movie with my best friend, and it was cool. It was, again, like, it's so funny. O'Shea Jackson Jr. truly is Ice Cube. Like, that man doesn't act any different. I swear, in some movie, he just has to go, "Hey, come back!" Like,
I would love to see it. I've seen what he did, by the way, O'Shea. I seen what you did, bro. I seen how earlier last month you tweeted at one point, y'all gonna admit y'all miss CM Punk, and then you just coincidentally happened to be next to this guy.
What? Right. Yeah, surprising.
What you did,
what's
brother?
going on here?
I seen it. I think shout out to O'Shea.
Yeah, I think the ultimate Ice Cube homage O'Shea could do. Like, all of them are Friday references in my head, but like. So I don't know why I thought of this, but his phone should like go off in a movie and somebody goes, "Hey," you get a text message and he responds, "Man, that's an email."
That's so stupid.
Oh man,
that's an email. It's so stupid.
Yeah, nah, he gotta he's gotta make some kind of reference to Friday at some point, man.
That is so stupid. I hope on the last
I've
Friday
obviously seen Friday enough times.
They do the last Friday and they find out that Craig has a son. Like, that's totally the fucking.
And it's just O'Shea.
Yeah, it's just O'Shea, and he's just exactly the same as him.
That'd be really funny.
Yeah. Let's see.
That's an email.
Nah, matter of fact, the way that last Friday shit opened is OJ in the refrigerator and Ice Cube coming.
Why every time?
Why every time I come in the refrigerator?
Yeah,
you in the refrigerator,
rest in peace
eating up all the food. Come on, man. Rest in peace to John.
All the hog maws.
All the pig feet. What a movie.
I know. I've seen it so many times. I watched that movie so much in the 5th grade that, in hindsight, I was 10 years old. I should not have been watching that.
I remember
movie.
when it was probably like the summer after it came out. My aunt, she was probably like 17 at the time. Her and her friend would legit watch. If they would watch the movie, and then when it was over, just rewind it and watch it like all day for like, I swear, like 2 months. They would just watch Friday every single day, all day, and get high because they're 17-year-old young black women.
Matter of fact,
and they just laugh so hard.
Matter of fact, speaking of Friday, Kevin Owens gave Sammy the Friday axe of that bitch for some help.
I love it.
Let's see. Reductive 92 says keeping up with the Kardashians.
Oh my god!
Yikes!
I think it's gonna work though. It's gonna bring in. It's gonna be.
I mean, I think it's on the wrong network. Like, to me, I think I would be airing this, and maybe they still will, because they've done a lot of cross stuff, like with BattleBots, how it airs first run on Discovery, and then they do the reruns on TBS. Like, I would be airing this show on TLC, knowing that Warner Brothers Discovery owns TLC, and that's like the reality show network. That's where I'd be throwing this. Or like, well, who else do they own? Either that or Discovery, like one of the networks that does really well with reality and behind the scenes and stuff.
Kind of away from TNT, because TNT's not known for reality shows.
Yeah,
Zarian definitely scared me, by the way, because his tweet initially was like, testing for that third hour, and I was like, no, please, no.
Dynamite does not need to be 3 hours.
I mean, I don't think Dynamite needs to be 3 hours, but I do think that Rampage needs to feel like the third hour of Dynamite, and that's my big.
I got scared. I thought you meant it needs to be 2 hours. No, it doesn't.
No, I don't know. I don't think it does. I think what Rampage needs to feel like is I feel as of late that it feels way too disconnected from Dynamite.
It does.
I feel like this week, nothing on Rampage this week was of consequence to the as far as the in-ring was concerned. Like, we saw the best friend stuff, but for the most part, it really does feel like Rampage kind of exists on its own, and that it's just like, here's stuff that's of no consequence to the things on Dynamite. Like, I had a lot of fun with the Bucks versus Aussie Open, but
we didn't hear that.
You didn't.
Song. That was the worst part about it. We didn't hear the Aussie Open theme song.
Yeah. Unless you watched it on YouTube. But if you don't watch Rampage, you lost nothing for Dynamite this week.
Yes.
And I feel like it needs, to me, I think Rampage needs to feel like an extension of Dynamite, not like its thing that kind of exists on an island.
All right, I'm all about wrestling, just having matches being the story and telling the stories, but I think Rampage can't be that show. Like, it can't just be the matches show, because people, as we see, are not going to watch it. It has to be some kind of connection that connects it to Dynamite and the storylines that are going on there.
The credit where it's due to Rampage. I know that Rampage specifically, and Tony mentioned this in our interview with him, that Rampage has like some of the strongest DVR numbers of
that makes sense.
Any of the shows in terms of, but yeah, it's a show that like people aren't watching on a Friday night for sure. Like, you are seeing those numbers dwindling. And I think the way that has to happen is you have to hook people from Dynamite.
Exactly.
And it has to feel like I am getting something out of watching this because I am a Dynamite follower. And like, Dynamite did over 1 million viewers this week, so it's clear there's a huge pool of people to pull from to pull into Rampage.
It's just kind of crazy. You kind of mentioned it when you were talking about Rampage going over this week, Will, about how Dynamite did 1 million, about how much crossover there is with basketball fans. It seems like if basketball's on, I'm watching it, but if it's not on, I'm gonna watch AEW. It's like super interesting. Basketball fucks AEW up, and NFL fucks up WWE, like these sports, man. I didn't know there was so much crossover still. It's
when I said that on Twitter, I was actually kind of surprised that everybody was. I got a lot of the trolls that were like, "Oh, this only did that number because of Tony's announcement," and I thought the announcement was not that.
No.
When you think about the reach that the announcement would have had, it wasn't something they put in any of the AEW ads. It wasn't anything that, that. It didn't have as big of a push as announcements had previously. And then when you look at the quarter hours, the quarter that the announcement was in was the lowest rated quarter. So it definitely wasn't that.
No.
And so when I look at it, I do think it is truly, the number said that this was the highest AEW had done since October. What started in October. And so the Dynamite was the clear number one on cable on Wednesday, but what was number one last week? Is NBA games. What's number one the week before that? Is basketball. Like, you can clearly see it's usually the challenge and basketball that eat into AEW.
Oh, the challenge. The finale was last week too. That also plays a role.
Yeah. So that's.
I forgot about that.
My other takeaway from Dynamite is put Evil Uno on TV more. Sarah, put this guy on TV more. He's great. He had a great promo on Dynamite. I thought he worked well with Mox. I know people were like, this isn't a main event match. It's not supposed to be a main event, guys. It's just I'm sorry, not supposed to be this big monster main event. I know the show has spoiled you with these great matches in the main event. It wasn't supposed to be that. It was supposed
But it was
to
a
be,
great match, though.
It was supposed to progress the story with Hangman. That's the point of this. This was all built to the pay-per-view. People that are like, "Oh, this isn't a main event worthy match." Like, no, it's a main event angle to build to that match. That's what it is.
And I
Calm
love the
down.
Moxley fake out was my favorite. Is everybody thought that he was going to bleed, but then Uno bled, but then Moxley still bled.
And Mox just was like, "Yes, bleed more. I'm gonna squeeze your head. Bleed more."
Oh yeah, man, he had him like a fucking cherry, just like squeezing that shit, and the juice is coming out.
Man.
Yeah, I said it reminded me of like those old Squeeze It commercials.
Squeeze it.
Squeeze it, squish it, gamma.
And he's just like, but and I am hearing though that next week's Rampage is supposed to have a pretty big match on it.
It's going to be live, so
it's going to be
Other than
live.
the ladder match.
Yeah.
And well, that's on Dynamite next week, but Rampage next week is supposed to have a fairly big match on it that hasn't been announced yet. That'll be announced on Dynamite, is what I hear. So that could be kind of cool. Are you going to Rampage, Reg?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to be at Dynamite and Rampage and Revolution. Very excited about wrestling.
Like, it's all come to you. Look at that.
Finally. Damn, it's only taken a year. Phil's been to like 12 AEW shows because they go to AEW. They go to Chicago like every 3 months.
Yeah. By the way, that clip went circling back around of Punk cutting that promo in the build. Again, that was for me. That was a great build. I don't care what any of you say. It was tremendous.
Honestly, I want to
loved
see.
it.
I would like to watch again Moxley versus CM Punk. I haven't seen it again since it happened, but I remember loving it when it happened and thinking that it had
Great
a
match.
brilliant finish.
Now that clip just shows like the energy when Punk was around, man. It was different. It was just different.
It was.
Damn.
Let's see. Anurag says, after that Brian MJF segment, I'm more interested in Brian winning and MJF going insane. Can't wait for the Brian MJF segment next week. What's percentage on Punk coming back? Percentage, I'm still 50. I can't call it either way. But
Not about 65 after his little recent displays.
maybe 52 is where I'm at, because like I can tell he wants back in, and it's just a matter of
I think that's the most important part to me, is it feels like he is trying to be like, what's up?
He's definitely outside, man. But I think all around this was a great week of wrestling, starting from Saturday on to today. I thought it was great. I think Elimination Chamber was a lot better than I expected it to be.
I like that.
the chamber itself, by the way.
Yeah, the men's chamber match was incredible. Montez went off. I think this was absolutely what it needed to be for him. It was a breakout
Now,
moment
Seth
for him.
and Gargano beating up Austin Theory in the pod.
No,
Great.
yeah, I thought this proved that Gargano is still Gargano. I think Jonah had a great showing. I thought that was a very successful match. The match that I was the least interested in ended up being one of my favorite matches of the night. I thought that Rhea and Beth killed it. I thought that tag match was excellent.
Yeah.
And that's how you wrap up a story before WrestleMania with Rhea and Beth.
Yeah, that pin breakup was messy, but
man, that stereo power bombs. Come on, man, that match was awesome. If anything, my takeaway from that was, look, Edge can go home. Let Beth wrestle some more. Like, what's going on, man? Give us the matches with Beth.
yeah,
Edge is
Beth
about to
gets
be
so
at
good.
full gear at the end of the year. You think we're going to see Edge and Christian as a tag team before this is over? You don't think so?
No.
I mean,
might
hey,
leave it WWE.
there's a word going around for a while that Edge did want to finish up with Christian, but that was.
Shout out to Christian, man. He's been doing some great shit, honestly. Christian is. I always thought, because there was always this debate in Edge and Christian. Christian is number one.
Christian is no debate for me. Christian is
Yeah.
better than Edge at
Definitely.
everything, and was always better at everything. And it's. I don't know. I think that Edge.
I think he's a better, more believable heel. He's a better.
I think
all of it. Yeah.
Edge was the beneficiary of the push. And so at the end of the day, obviously, Edge has the stronger career than Christian. But I think just looking at performers, I don't think there's a single thing Edge is better than Christian at.
It's definitely a hot take for some people.
I know it is, but like, cause I don't know. I think Edge was lightning in a bottle for sure for a certain run. But I have felt like outside of those runs, Edge can be really corny.
Yeah.
I have enjoyed Christian's return to wrestling more than most of Edge's. I think Edge is at his best as a heel. I think him doing opportunistic stuff is what made him super hot as the rated R superstar. And I just have no interest in him as a babyface.
But the problem is they turned him heel last year, and that sucked too.
Yeah.
But I mean, they turned him heel, and then they did the Judgment Day stuff, and Judgment Day has been better without him.
Everything
much better.
since him coming back has been awful. The greatest the greatest match you've ever seen.
Show.
Them zooming in on all of his promos to his fucking this part. It's like, what is going on?
I mean,
here?
the Rollins feud was great. I think they had a great trilogy of
I think they had great matches. I don't know that. Like, I didn't like any of the promo work.
Edge be trying to do too much, dude. Just like
I thought those. I remember hating.
We just want to hear you see you hit the flying hug, and we're out of here. Come on,
like flying
flying.
like no, them Edge monologues in the middle of the ring. I hated every single one of those. But
I thought a few of them were good. I thought a few of them were good. This is again. You hated pandemic wrestling. That's what this is.
Well, my problem was
wrestling. You know,
I understood those in the pandemic when they had a crowd and they still had Edge sitting there with a spotlight on him, and I'm like, walk around the ring. You have a crowd there.
We don't gotta zoom in anymore.
On,
we can see the people.
He wanted to create the atmosphere, man.
Yeah. Dreddy asked, did you see the Undertaker interview on Hot Boxing with Mike Tyson? If so, thoughts? I saw the quotes. There is no way I was going to watch an Undertaker interview today. I've seen the quotes, but I...
Oh, is that where him saying that there's too much on social media or whatever? That's where it came from, that Mike Tyson interview?
And Mike Tyson had also talked about that he would rather take a check from WWE at this stage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was where that
all
came from.
makes more sense.
Yeah, that's where that came from. And then Undertaker was like, well, yeah, because WWE is going to do it right. And
shots fired.
Yeah, so but no, you will never catch me watching anything Undertaker does.
You're not about to be at the One Dead Man show?
Shout out Matt Galloway, who said that, Undertaker's going to get up there and be like, my pronouns are dead man walking.
Oh my God. I am out of here.
Wow. They've got to stop showing those commercials for that Roseanne stuff. It looks awful.
It
freaks me out.
The worst.
I don't want to see nothing about it. Stop it, Fox. Every time I watch SmackDown, I have to see those commercials. I don't want to see this special. Stop it.
Nope. But yeah, so no, not a chance I would go see.
I'm just happy that Pizza Hut got a new advertisement, so we don't have to hear. I'll be like, sheesh, sunset on the beach. Do you guys remember that?
Oh yes, of course. Yeah. Look, I have 2 children in my house who do nothing but recite commercials most of the day. That is one I hear all the time.
I'll be like, sheesh.
Pizza Hut has been an enemy in my household for no number of
I forgot.
And they got this commercial with Craig Robinson where Craig Robinson is trying to sell me on Detroit style pizza. No, I don't want Detroit style pizza, sir. Detroit style pizza looks trash. I am from a city with great pizza.
Some would say.
Last night we went out for dinner, by the way, so I didn't get to watch SmackDown live at all. I missed a lot of live wrestling this week. I was at the movies. Went to the movies twice this week, and then last night we were like about to order pizza, as we kind of tend to do on Fridays, and then for whatever reason something possessed me to go, you guys want to go out to dinner? And everybody goes, yeah, Dad's taking us out to dinner. And so we went out. We went to our favorite Asian restaurant, Golden Saigon, and had to wait around for an hour for a table. Almost left, but it's like, damn it, but we're so close. You waited
that whole hour?
That's a long no way.
I mean, it was probably an hour from the time we left the house to the time we were served, or to the time we were seated. So because we left around
not that bad. You guys got to catch up here.
Yeah, we left.
And shit,
I know we played a game while we sat there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was the hard thing I always forget about going out to dinner. It always sounds like a good idea, and then that check hits the table,
Ooh, and I'm like, we should have got them pizzas, boy.
I know. I'm like, we would have paid $20 for pizza and
right.
been fine.
Yeah.
We would have had breadsticks too.
You would have had some leftover pizza too, all kind of shit. Yeah,
we would have had leftover. I mean, look, I took boxes home last night. Are you kidding me? But that's exactly what I'm eating for lunch here in about 20 minutes.
Dude, my cousin married a woman and they have like 8 kids together or something. Like, I think it's 7 maybe. And I'm like, you guys can't go out to dinner. Like, you can't go out to dinner with a couple and 7 people, dude. That's crazy. Like, your bill's gonna be $500 for one thing. That's even if you go to McDonald's. You can't go to McDonald's. Like, if everybody wants a $10 meal, we're already, bro. For McDonald's, this is crazy.
I know. No, honestly, that's the reason that I stopped at 2 kids, because that means there's 4 of us. Look, when you buy shit at the store, you get a 4-pack of everything, and like everything's got a 4-pack, right? Like there's no 5 packs of shit, and so it's perfect. It when it says family size, it's usually gonna feed 4 people. Yeah, when we start to get beyond that, if I had a 3rd child, we're looking at way too much. Not trying to do all that, but yeah, we went out to dinner,
and you guys don't have any pets.
We have cats.
Oh, okay.
And some will recall we had dogs at one point early on when the show started, but we have cats now. The dogs were rehomed. Caden says, at Universal for ROH, super pumped for the show.
All right. Shout out to Caden. He is out there. No spoilers, Caden. Send those right to Will Washington's DMs. I know.
Send them right to me. I want everything. I want to know. You give me a match by match or move by move breakdowns of every match.
Don't nobody send nothing to Will Washington. Okay?
Throw that gum away, Caden. If you still got that gum, throw that gum away, bro.
You better put that on eBay, Caden. Don't listen to Phil.
Nah, the MJF said directly, if you sell that, you owe me a cut. So, let's see. Lastier says, where's Serena D? Miss her. Layla Hirsch too. I know Serena D was hurt. Layla was, of course, hurt last year.
Yeah.
And hopefully she's on her way back, because she would fit into the storyline pretty well.
That was a year ago too for Layla. Now at this point,
I feel like fans, I just need one thing from you when Layla Hirsch returns. She's legit Layla Hirsch. She is the perfect wrestler to chant "Too legit, too legit to quit" at. I want everybody chanting "Too legit,
don't do it,
too legit to quit." Layla Hirsch hits the ring.
Stop this nonsense. Stop it.
Oh
Stop
shit.
Nope.
Yeah, but she tore ACL, so a year is
that's
about
a lot.
Right.
Yeah, that's pretty regular. That's how they said how long they said your MAGA homegirl's gonna be out with her little injury too. Nikita Lyons.
Oh yeah, I'm like, who? Oh yeah, that's
confused.
right.
You guys are like, what?
She's out a year as well.
I was about to say something awful. I'll keep that one to myself.
The Bearded Baron says, match of the weekend is Nagata versus Kento Erasure.
Didn't see that one, but
let's keep on reading. Mr. CJ Lilly. Bet you this one mentions Alexa Bliss. It does. It says, speaking of fans, what do you think of the leeches that jumped Ray and Liv at the airport recently? This makes it harder for real fans to meet their heroes, and the Alexa teases in the funhouse were excellent.
Real fans?
I think that people that do that at the airport need to stop. And honestly, I get why wrestlers indulge them, because they don't want to come off as jerks, but I think wrestlers can tell these people no, because some of these people are just taking that stuff and selling it. You're missing out on a bag because of this. No, if you want my John Hancock on anything, come to a meet and greet. Pay me money for it.
Yep. I saw in person though, because that's the hard thing about the kind of eBay leeches who like show up at the hotel, show up at the airport. I once saw one who didn't even know the wrestlers. Where they had asked somebody to sign something and it wasn't.
Nasty.
Yeah, it wasn't the right wrestler. I think it was Ortiz. Ortiz was stopped, and the guy had an Eddie Kingston figure and was like, "Hey, can you sign this?" And he's like, "That ain't me, so no." And like, and so yeah, but they show up in droves. I remember at Rumble 2022. The hotel I was at was the hotel where the wrestlers were staying. And I couldn't believe how many people were just standing there with bags of merch waiting for the wrestlers to leave, and like anybody that walked by just like shouting like, hey, can we get Sasha Banks And like,
And I'm not saying that the wrestlers should ignore fans that are just coming to say hello and may just want like a selfie or something. But if you're showing up with like boxes of stuff for them to sign at the airport, like that's
at 5 a.m. They just got off a fight.
that's-
They ain't got
that's
time for that. Come on.
Shame Monster says, give me your ideal Jade plans. I want Tony or Sheeta to give her best match. But TK is holding out for Statlander, isn't he? I mean, Statlander's out a long time, so he says she's implying she's boring now.
I think people are just kind of running with their own Statlander narrative. I don't think that's a thing. I think that's what they want. But,
I think that's what they wanted at one point, but I think now they've moved on from any plans that included her because she's going to be out for a while. I would really like for Jade, now that she's past the 50 mark, to get into the big matches that she hasn't done yet. I think
I agree.
I think she's got to get the Sheeta match eventually. I think she's got to work some of the originals that have been there, like Riho, and I think they've got to eventually build to the Britt match as well.
Yeah, I was gonna say Britt's probably the one. Yeah.
Dream Ninja 77 says, Mercedes, my all-time favorite wrestler. The world tour is going to go crazy. Mickey, Deanna, Sheeta, Hater, give it all to me. I hope we do get some of that.
Yeah, me too.
G-Bro says, Dax Harwood said he's never seen a Bianca match. That's nasty. Why would you say that?
Why did he
Even
say
if you
that?
haven't, you don't need to say that.
Yeah, why did he say that?
It's kind of weird.
But I also just saw Dax's tweets annoyed that AEW is not talking up his Observer Award wins, but they're talking up Tony's and Brian's. And
This is way too silly, you guys.
Listen, man. I think Dax is. I think some of this Dax stuff that he's working is great. By the way, we didn't talk about the Shatter Machine at Elimination Chamber, and I just was sitting there looking like, he ain't going back there.
You know, all
Don't
this
you
stuff.
believe it?
All this stuff this week is really interesting with the wrestlers and WWE being upset about their 2K numbers, and it's like, is this what we're doing, you guys? We're upset about 2K numbers. That's a Pandora's box. I don't know if you want to get into, bro. It's just some.
I mean, the weird thing though is that the numbers haven't been around that long of a time, have they?
Right. They haven't.
And
that wasn't a thing in 2000 and 2001 when I was getting the game.
yeah, I just remember like you play Here Comes the Pain, Brock Lesnar's just gonna fuck your shit up, and you just kind of had to deal with it. I think they did have ratings in Here Comes the Pain.
Maybe they did.
Maybe they did. But I don't know. You know,
just seeing Roman 99 is like, you guys are funny, dude.
Because like the thing I do miss is like IGN used to do those countdowns, and I used to love those where they do the daily countdown. Every day they'd reveal a new wrestler and their entrance, and now the problem is the entrances are the same as they were the previous game. Right. But in those days, I used to like get excited because I'm like, oh shit, we're gonna see what Hunter's entrance looks like now. Does Water look halfway realistic? And guess what, guys? We're 20 years into these games, it does not. It still looks like little strands of paper just falling out of.
Just can't do it.
They just cannot get Water looking good. And so, whatever. But either way, I used to look forward to that shit all the time. I remember looking forward to Rock's Hollywood entrance dropping in the first game it was in and seeing the "it's cooking," and I'm like, this is fucking awesome.
I don't know if this is a hot take. I didn't like the Hollywood Rock theme.
Oh, that is a hot take. That is
a hot take. Okay, let's go.
I didn't like that theme. I just didn't like it.
Okay, so I feel like I think the song is overrated for sure. I think when people say it's the best rock song, disagree. I think it, and I hear that from people a lot. I think it was good for the character for sure. And I tweeted today.
It fit the character for sure.
Yeah, I tweeted the other day about that song because I was like, this song was great for the moment. It could never last long term. It was never going to be a long term thing. But for those months that he worked that Hollywood character, it was great. But I still think Rock's best theme is the one off of Volume 4, the one he basically had all the big moments of his career with, the one that he debuted in 99, and basically he went back to it too when he switched after he turned babyface again after the Hollywood run. He didn't go back to his 01 theme. He went back to the 99 theme because that was the one most associated with the biggest moments of his career.
How long did he use? You would know this with Washington. How long did he use the one that had the hypnotized sample in it?
Oh, like a week. That was
I
Jim
remember when
Jo-
that hit and being like, "Oh shit, it's lit."
That was Jim Johnston doing way too much. He was like, I'm going to try and make Hypnotize. My God. Like, nah, you got to stick with that same exact drum pattern that you used in the Nation theme. And he just kept moving over and then like adding on top of that. Nah, that was Rock went through like a number of weird theme changes.
That time he was going through a lot. Like every week it seemed like they're remixing it.
Right, and then they finally stuck with the one that he had. Because I also remember there was this period where they like really wanted to enhance his theme. And so right after SummerSlam 99, so right after he beat Billy Gunn, but before he got the Volume 4 theme, they were like changing it every week. And you could hear like enhancements being made, electric guitar being added to it. And if you go through that run of shows, you hear like Rock's theme changing literally every week. I miss that, by the way. I miss those days of when Jim Johnston would just like make a quick change to a theme and you just hear it. Like the way a theme happens now and then it's done. And until like another theme comes out, you don't hear any changes to it. I miss when literally Jim Johnston would just be like, I just want to change the guitars up in this for no reason. And
We get a little bit
little
of it
tweak,
now.
little tweaker.
We get a little bit
but
of
they
it
just
now.
like tweak themes here and there every once in a while. I feel like the age of releasing themes on streaming services has changed that because now once it's out, it has to be out. It has to be like that's the version you get because that's the one they're selling.
Yeah, I mean,
But
we
like-
see bits and pieces of the theme coming together. Like, I mean, when Corbin's theme first debuted, before he added the words to it, or not the new awful Corbin theme.
That's the worst thing.
Right.
Oh my
But
God.
no, we've seen bits and pieces. I mean, we didn't talk about it with the Mercedes entrance. She added words to the second
she
half
did.
of it.
Yeah.
She added some lyrics to it, and I was confused at first when she put up that IG live of her in the studio, and I was like, "Wait, she really making an album? What's going on here?"
I mean, we see it definitely outside of WWE more, but I was just talking about, like I said, in the age of streaming services now and getting your stuff on iTunes, all of that. I feel like they feel now, and AEW does it too, that the theme has to be locked because this is what we're selling. And
That's
so
the only
therefore-
thing I like that the dumb rapper from Chicago did, where he would go in after and remix the song. Like he would put a new version of the song on
Just
iTunes.
patching
I thought
song.
that was a pretty cool idea because you could. It's my music. I can do whatever the fuck I want with it. And so
I thought that
miss
was like
shit.
that was like the DLC of music to me. Like you're literally just like
The
Yeah,
deal.
you're
I
fixing
definitely
songs
thought about
after
it.
they came out.
I definitely thought about him when you said that with streaming. That I was like, "Nah, Kanye ain't paying
Yeah.
no attention to that.
No, he don't care.
He
He's like, I'll change the song right now. Here, take it.
Role Martyr X says we currently have 4 black women's champions in 4 different wrestling companies. Let's go.
That's pretty lit.
yeah,
That's
look,
unprecedented.
yeah. I
Unprecedented.
wrote an article last year for Bleachers that said black women are the future of this industry, and it's looking like that is happening.
Hey, it's the present now. Look at that.
Look at that.
Phil Lindsay, particularly.
Phil was right. Who's surprised? No one's surprised here.
No one's surprised. Deontay says, had Mardi Gras off for 4 days, but I watched 70 instead of 100 because saving it for Mania week. But Stardom, AEW, WWE, New Japan, and so much more I've loved. All love, guys. Keep your heads up so I can, wait.
Maybe I can
So I
see
can,
y'all smile.
yeah, so I can see y'all smile. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
shout
what
out
it
to
is.
you.
Well,
Yeah,
guess what?
that's friendly.
Always smiling over here.
70 matches is crazy, dude.
That's
Yeah,
a
like
lot,
me.
man. Stardom is definitely cooking though, man. That Hazuki match that's coming up, I am definitely excited for that. As a big Ariza mark when she was the champion, I've always felt like she should get another shot at that belt. So I am super excited for that. And we're getting Mercedes versus Asumi. Come on, man. This is
Big deal.
it's gonna be great.
I'm excited.
Doc ABJ says, off topic, please give your takes on Southside.
I'm so sad that it's been canceled. Legit, one of the funniest shows of the last a lot of million years. They put in 3 seasons. They had the first season on Comedy Central, but then they switched over to HBO Max. Legit, one of the funniest shows I've ever seen. The comedy, the way that they connected, all the jokes, everything about it. One of the best shows. If you haven't seen Southside, get on HBO Max. I hope that they get a new home.
You know, the
very
problem with
soon.
HBO Max, though, is that they pull shows when they cancel them. And that's...
Right.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah, because they don't... Because if a show remains on a streaming service, you have to pay the actors while it
Right.
remains on the streaming service, or pay the talent. Like my brother still receives checks for Sister on Netflix, and
That's what's up.
so as soon as the show goes up, so that's why it's always a big deal when like your show gets picked up by Netflix, because as long as it remains on the service, they have to pay. And HBO's way around that is, fuck it, the show's not on, we're pulling it. They pulled Westworld, and it's weird to think that Westworld was such a big show. It's won all those awards.
Huge.
You can't watch it now.
That's crazy. Yeah, look, as somebody from the city of Chicago,
Yeah.
a Southsider,
Yes.
I feel like it's super authentic. There's so much humor in it that is definitely stuff that people from the city would understand. I mean, even listening to the theme song, this sounds like somebody with a thick Chicago accent singing it. I was born in the South Side, getting paid in the South Side.
Yes. Yeah, see, you saying this about the show makes it even better. Like, it's
No,
already a great show,
it's
but then
great.
somebody being there being like, no, it's authentic. Like, makes
Super
it better.
authentic.
You gotta watch it.
The episode about stepping,
Mm-hmm.
super authentic. The conversation
percolator.
about mild sauce and everything. I just see the clip from Southside when the clip it's time to let those dreads go.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, man.
Hilarious. But
Yes. Amazing.
great. It's a
Oscar-worthy.
really, really funny show, man.
MJ Johnson says, the fact that MJF said BD only cares about wrestling, and in order for BD to get a match with Max, has to wrestle every week. Chef's kiss.
That's what I'm saying. It's
good
been
story.
great storytelling in this main event feud.
Zero Prime says, funny people try to trick Unagi Sayaka challenge Jade for the TBS belt without knowing what said to her. You guys got to see the video, LOL.
No, I don't know what you're talking about. I missed it.
Yeah, I have to check that out as well. Let's see. Cadency says, I just sat down in the theater for Cocaine Bear. Enjoy.
Wait, I thought you were at Universal Studios. Wait,
Caden's
you
doing
in
all
multiple
kind of
places?
stuff
What
at the
you doing?
same time.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, Cocaine Bear is a Universal movie. Wonder if they're showing it at.
On the lot.
Oh, maybe that's what it is.
Yeah. Let's see. Yes Boy says, after watching Quantumania, even Marvel got me asking, well, let's see how this plays out.
Still haven't seen Quantumania yet. I am excited to see Kang stomp this guy out.
Dang.
But we'll see.
Night Track says, Rampage feel like SmackDown before the brand split. Ooh, that's a good way to put it. But even SmackDown had some stuff that was at least played off of Raw. But yeah, I know what you mean. Not SmackDown in 2002, but SmackDown in like 2015, where
Right.
that show was a complete waste of time. And they experimented with some stuff on SmackDown, though.
I liked
But
what they were
because they-
trying to do, but they didn't like any of it.
But the funny thing was, they experimented with stuff on SmackDown that people don't even remember because it was so irrelevant to what happened on Raw. Like, people forget that when Bryan joined the Wyatt family on SmackDown, he actually cut like a full-on "You People" promo and like told the fans on SmackDown, "You people, yeah, you chanted yes, but did you really love me or did you just love my chant?" And he was like completely talked about how I'm in the Wyatt family now. And then when he turns on Raw, they're like, "Oh, he was playing him the whole time," and I'm like, "That's only if you were just watching Raw. If you watch SmackDown, you can see that they clearly had plans for him to stick around in that." Also, another good example of experimenting with stuff on SmackDown at the time period was Seth Rollins turning on the Shield. On the following SmackDown, they had a graphic for Seth Rollins in Evolution, and they were kind of selling it as Seth Rollins joins Evolution. And then on Monday, they scrapped that. And I thought that was a good idea. I thought that I remember thinking, Seth Rollins in Evolution, I love that because I liked Evolution more as an idea and a concept than as a kind of stuck in time. Like now Evolution is locked as historically it's always going to be Ric Flair, Triple H, Batista, Randy Orton. But I was like, but what if it's a concept instead where Ric Flair is gone now, Hunter becomes wrestling's past, Orton becomes the present, and then Rollins becomes the future. And then 10 years after that, which we're approaching where that would be, you'd have Rollins as the present, Orton as the past, and then Rollins could be grooming somebody else in that spot. And then conceptually, Evolution could always continue. I thought that would always
could
be
evolve. Wow.
yeah. It could always be where Rollins is the past, and then whoever his next guy is, and you could continue that lineage of the faction, and it'd be kind of a forever thing. But then, like the following Monday on Raw, they're like, actually, Evolution just is gone, and Rollins is just a part of the Authority now. He's still aligned with Hunter and Orton, but it'll have nothing to do with Evolution. But they ran a graphic that had the Evolution logo, and it had Rollins standing in front of it on SmackDown. It was the SmackDown after he turned on the Shield, but nobody watched SmackDown at that time anyway, so who gave a shit? Abdullah, the Butcherhead, says, Riho versus Jade would be great to me. I'd love to see them try it like Danielson versus Lesnar at Survivor Series.
That was a great match.
Although, we got a thing to talk about. Speaking of Brock Lesnar, I will say this. So, Sean tweeted...
Are we talking about the Black History moment of Bobby Lashley kicking out of 2 F5s? No other black man has done that.
Wow.
That's true. No other black man has done that. Because I was going to say plenty of people have done that.
Plenty of people have done that.
That's what I said, Black History.
Yeah. But speaking of Black History here. So, of course, Sean tweeted earlier this week that he had heard from a WWE talent that Vince was back. And WWE reached out to Fightful to say that that is not true.
Of course they would.
Now, that said, I'm just going to say this. I don't know that Vince is back.
You watched the end of the Elimination Chamber. You have an inkling.
But actually, here's where my inkling comes from. Hunter took over, right? And he has had pretty much no desire to use Omos in any
0%,
major capacity.
Not a fan.
Right? You have not seen Hunter using Omos. You've not seen Omos get PLE matches. You have not seen Omos in any major angles on Raw. But all of a sudden, at WrestleMania, the word is now that Omos is going to be facing Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. And, like, the immediate thought, I had the same thought Phil did, which is, no, this has got to be a swerve. Like, they're swerving us. It's going to be Bobby Lashley or something. And now word going around is, nope, that's on the run sheets right now. It's saying Brock Lesnar versus Omos. And my brain went... No, I don't believe that Hunter, who has had no desire to use Omos since August, is all of a sudden like, actually, the WrestleMania match is Brock versus Omos. You know who that
zero build, like nobody cares about Omos at all. Why are we supposed to care about him beating Brock Lesnar? Because he's big?
And I'm thinking about the fact that, you know who would have put that match together, though? Vince McMahon.
Yeah.
So...
I feel like that makes the finish of the Elimination Chamber match even worse because I feel like the story, this entire feud has been he's got Brock's number, and every time he's getting ready to win, Brock does something out of desperation to win. And so if you're just
so how did they tie that story up this week? Like what?
But that's what I'm saying.
What was Brock's explanation?
But that's my point. If that's the end of that match at Elimination Chamber, just give Bobby the win. I thought that was leading to this being the WrestleMania match, and Bobby's just going to beat him at WrestleMania.
I guess we're getting Bobby versus Bray now that Bray said, I want the winner, and Bobby technically won. So there's your match, Bobby and Bray. And then...
Yeah, so if this is the Omos match, what does Omos get out of this? Because Omos is not winning that match.
No way.
What do you get out of this other than... maybe this gets you to the point with MVP and Omos where this is the end of the road with him, and he officially goes back to Bobby, and they start the Hurt business over. But you don't have to do that with a match at Mania. You can do that with a TV match. Like,
Brock walked in and said, "Which one of these niggas haven't I beat yet? That big one? Put me in the ring with him. He's big. I beat all these other niggas. Which one haven't I beat yet? The big one? WrestleMania."
I don't think that he said that. I don't think that he said that. I think that this is clearly a Vince or somebody backstage going, yeah.
So Vince said, "Which one of these niggas hasn't Brock beat yet? Put him in there with them." Black History Month.
I mean, literally, the setup for it was just like a backstage segment with MVP and Omos, and literally, MVP just says, "We're throwing out a challenge next week. We want to see you because we're challenging you at WrestleMania, Brock Lesnar. Omos.
Don't want out of
And
all
everybody's like, oh, it's got to be a swerve. Like maybe he comes out and then MVP or then Bobby Lashley like ambushes Brock and then the Hurt Business reunites and that's how we get the rematch with Bobby. But
yeah,
word going around is no, that is not
Is
the
he gonna
case.
F5 almost off rip, or is he gonna wait to WrestleMania?
he's definitely squashing this man. But yeah, out of all the options you have for Brock at WrestleMania,
Weird.
why are you going with the option that nobody anywhere
wants
wanted? Like the Gunther match is right there if you don't want to do the Bobby match. There's so many other options. Why are we doing this? Like
Again, I don't think Brock had anything against Gunther, but I think it's like for what title? Like
well,
Brock
I
is like,
think if they did that, he'd probably lose the title before WrestleMania.
yeah,
I would think so.
I don't think Brock wants anything to do with the Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah, I look.
Last time he had an Intercontinental Championship, he got himself intentionally disqualified.
Yeah, look, man. This is nothing against Omos. This doesn't feel like a WrestleMania match at all. Like this feels like a random TV match or a B pay-per-view match at best, and I think that's even stretching it since it's a B pay-per-view match.
Yeah.
I mean, look, Brock is getting them dollars though because this is a match that's going to have minimal work, and Brock is going to get 7 figures for this shit, and he will hit an slightly impressive looking F5 on the big man, and then
Go home.
go home.
Yeah,
He'll be home before the show
Like
is
legit home. He's gonna walk out of the arena till his private jet and fly the fuck out of here.
yeah. I don't get it. I don't get. That's why I kept thinking this has to be something cooked up by MVP and Bobby to lure him out to the ring, and then Bobby's just gonna jump him from behind. That's why I thought this was going. If that's not where this is going, what was the point of all of this Bobby and Brock stuff you've been doing for a year?
I say there's still some hope. At least it hasn't been confirmed, but it's not looking too good at this point.
I hope I hope it's a swerve. I still hope it's a swerve. I hope that it even being on the run sheets for WrestleMania, and not the run sheets, but they have basically the program sheets and what programs everything's leading into, and that's how everybody knows it's not going to be a triple threat.
I feel like this has to be a swerve. And if I'm just wrong, I will hang my head in shame and go, "This is what we're doing at WrestleMania." But this doesn't make any sense. The year-long feud you've been booking is the match that you should pay off at WrestleMania. Like, what are you doing?
Let's see. Albert Ponce says, so Knight loses the 2 scoops of raisins in every bowl match, and now loses to Kofi. Make this make sense, please. Also, why is Andretti losing to Sammy? Ugh. I mean, I can answer the Andretti thing. I know people are wondering why there hasn't been a huge follow-up on Andretti following his big win over Jericho. And that's because, are you ready for it? The story wasn't supposed to be about Andretti. It was supposed to be about Jericho losing. You could have had anybody play that role. Andretti happened to be good at playing that role, but anybody could have been in that role. As a matter of fact, the idea was supposed to be that somebody extremely low on the totem pole, like somebody not even like on the roster at that time, beat Chris Jericho. Anybody could have been in that role. It was more about Jericho losing and not really supposed to be about Andretti. I don't think Andretti was going to have a rocket strapped to him.
No,
I think he was basically there to be a little bit of a heater for, and not even a heater, but just somebody for them to now get victories over in this Ricky Starks feud.
Yeah, I won't go back into the problem with the Ricky Starks feud because I've been telling you guys for weeks that it ain't.
I like the promo this week though.
Well, let me finish. I think that the Sammy match was good. I think Sammy, and people aren't gonna like this. I think it makes sense for Sammy to win this because Sammy is the guy that's closest to Jericho, and if you are looking at JAS as guys that are just Jericho sycophants, but they're all trending upward and they're just kind of hanging with Jericho and they don't realize that he's just keeping them there, leeching off of them. No, it makes sense for Sammy to win this. Sammy has outgrown Jericho a long time ago as well, but he's just there because what else is there for him to do? And I feel like that's just that group right now. So it doesn't bother me that Sammy won. And the match was great. I thought the segment this week was very good. I thought the segment saved this angle for me because I had no interest in it. I thought Ricky hitting him with the Bugs Bunny reverse psychology was great. But he's got to win this match at Revolution. If he does not win this match at Revolution, no. The pox on the entire household of Jericho. Mm-hmm. If he loses this match at Revolution, he's got to win this match. Like, that has to be the ending of this, and you've got to move on from this afterwards immediately.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. As far as LA Knight is concerned and losing to Kofi, yeah, I don't know. I'll always celebrate a Kofi Kingston win. As a matter of fact, folks, I'll get to that in a second. But I will always celebrate a Kofi Kingston win. However, I think that if there's plans for LA Knight, his first match back after losing that match and losing on TV, I think you're setting a precedent with fans with him, and it's not a good one. And not a good look.
But this is again why I didn't understand why Bray was his first major feud, because you set him up to lose immediately, and so now you got to build this guy back up, and nobody's taking him seriously. I thought this entire match was completely and utterly pointless. It reeked of, we have nothing else for New Day to do. We have nothing else for LA Knight to do. Hey, let's just throw them in this match together. And because Kofi has the standing that he does with the company, of course Kofi's going to win. He's a former WWE champion. LA Knight has not done anything to look like he's on that level yet. So of course he lost. But they shouldn't have been together in this segment. There was no point to this.
Agreed. However, I mentioned I will always celebrate a Kofi Kingston win, which brings me into my moment, talking about Black History moments. And I know what you're thinking, Kofi Mania, right? I'm going to go 10 years prior, because as much as Kofi Mania meant to me, I've talked about Kofi Mania. It's probably top 3 greatest WrestleMania moments of all time. However, 10 years prior to that, there was a Survivor Series match that had the blackest Survivor Series team you would ever see. It was R-Truth, MVP, Mark Henry, Kofi Kingston, and Christian. But they at least referenced that backstage, as Christian reminded us that he was the only white member of that team. Shout out to Christian getting his plate at the cookout, I guess, for one night. And they faced Team Orton, which consisted of Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, Ted DiBiase, and William Regal. So it was Legacy, William Regal, and CM Punk. That match dwindled down. We saw plenty of former world champions in this match get eliminated. We had seen Christian eliminated. He was ECW champion. We saw, of course, R-Truth eliminated, MVP, William Regal, Ted DiBiase. Everybody came down. It came down to literally just Kofi Kingston. A Kofi Kingston who at the time had only been in the company a year and a half. He debuted on TV in 2008. And here we had Kofi Kingston. It came down to Kofi Kingston, CM Punk, and Randy Orton. Randy Orton tags in CM Punk because Randy Orton does not want any of Kofi Kingston. Kofi Kingston goes at it with CM Punk. We're reminded on commentary that CM Punk and Kofi Kingston are actually former tag team partners as this match is going on. Tag team champions at that. Kofi and CM Punk actually have a phenomenal exchange. They have what could be considered a great singles match, which was at the end of a Survivor Series match. In the end, CM Punk goes to roll up Kofi. Kofi reverses it into a roll-up of his own. 1, 2, 3, pins CM Punk. And then Randy Orton runs in to rush Kofi and immediately gets hit with Trouble in Paradise. 1, 2, 3. The Kingston Miracle had taken place. Kofi Kingston, in the span of 6 seconds, pinned 2 former world champions. He pinned CM Punk, who had literally just lost the world heavyweight title to The Undertaker at a month prior, and former WWE champion Randy Orton, who again at the previous pay-per-view had just lost the WWE title to Cena. Kofi Kingston pinned both of them in the span of 6 seconds. This moment made me feel like when I saw this happen, this is it. Kofi Kingston is going to be a star. I thought they have it on their hands right here. They have a guy that people get into, that people love, and they just showed us he can beat 2 world champions. I am in. And if I can just forget everything that happened a month after that, I would say like this. And for this moment, I will, because as far as a Black History moment is concerned, I love the Kingston Miracle. I can still go back and watch this, and just on its own, seeing Kofi Kingston beat 2 world champions like that, and knowing how close Kofi Kingston and CM Punk were at the time, knowing how much CM Punk wanted to put Kofi over in that moment, I loved it. That's my Black History moment.
Yeah, there were people at the time that before Kofi Mania, during message board days, I was on message boards for years saying Kofi should be champion, and I would get arguments constantly from people. He's not there yet. No, he's been there, and I kept telling people that. I remember the year before Kofi Mania, WWE put out their Black History Month things like they do all the time, and I was like, I'm ready for the next Black WWE champion, and people kept responding to that tweet and said, there's no wrestler, and I was like, yes, there is, Kofi Kingston.
Mm-hmm.
And there were so many people, boy, these tweets did not age well, of people going, no, it ain't him. I was like, yes, it is. It's him. He's the guy. And this guy's changed everything. I know that we didn't want to make Kofi Mania the WWE, the Black History moment for any of us, but that was a moment that changed everything.
That is the moment that changed everything. Look, it's funny is people used to give me shit because on RBR after I was such a big Kingston Miracle thing, loving this moment so much, I was screaming from the top of my lungs. Obviously, this happened at Survivor Series November, so I was like, "Look, you just had Kofi beat 2 world champions. Give him the Rumble. Just do it. Just do it right now. He needs to keep this momentum up. Go into Rumble 2010 and just have Kofi Kingston win the Royal Rumble. Like he's hot right now, and you need to capitalize on that." And then it became this gag after that where people were like, remember when Will thought Kofi was going to win the Royal Rumble? Kofi Kingston winning a Royal Rumble. Kofi going to WrestleMania.
He should have won a Rumble by this point.
Mm-hmm.
I know. Think it's crazy that he hasn't. I mean, when you really think of him in the Rumble, he kind of saved the Royal Rumble.
He did.
His saves became a big deal every year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so the point I was getting at with all of that was, I took that shit for 10 years from people who were like, yeah, you thought Kofi could have been a world champion. And when he finally won the title, it was a moment of, yeah, I did think Kofi could be a world champion. I thought that
and he
in
is.
2009.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe I was 10 years too early because he won it in 2019. But you know what? Kofi Kingston is that guy.
Too early,
and he's always been that guy.
Mm-hmm.
He should have won a long time ago.
Should have.
And I think that he still should win a Rumble before his career is over. I think the fact that he has never won a Rumble or Money in the Bank match is criminal.
I've only cried real tears in one wrestling moment ever at a wrestling show. And that was WrestleMania 35 when Kofi Kingston got the 3. That's my favorite Black History moment in wrestling ever. It'll never be topped. Everything surrounding.
I don't want to say ever because
I don't know. I mean, not for me. It might be. It probably will be topped in history, but not for me. Like you can't. There's nothing. Nothing can be built like that ever again. Time and space and everything. It's just you can't recreate.
It's such a brilliant moment because when you really think about who Bryan Danielson is and how literally this is only 5. This is only 5 years after Bryan was in this spot. Mm-hmm. And Bryan now gets to be the villain. Like that was a little underlying.
Like not only is it a great Kofi Kingston moment, but on the other side of it is the greatest wrestler of our generation. Like, come on, man.
I think that's what makes it also so special too. Yeah. It's not just that he just was champion; he beat the guy that is considered the greatest of all time by a lot of people. I don't think he'll. It's gonna be hard to top Kofi. It's
gonna be really hard.
Reason. I mean, there's just so many small.
I mean, Phil's moment is right up there too. That's
Yeah.
that's top 5 moment ever. 2 black women in the main event. I'm like thinking like, are we ever gonna get that again at this point? Look at it up there. What the fuck's going on? But,
I mean, and there's so many small moments. I mean, every time I think of Kofi Mania with Biggie being out, I always think about their backstage interview afterwards, and Woods is answering questions, and he hits him with he looks and he can see his friends about to cry, and he makes him laugh. New Day is just so special because those 3 guys are really friends, and just watching how they interact with each other, regardless if a camera's on or not, is just amazing. I miss Big E on television a lot,
Me too, man.
And just again watching him in that moment, seeing Woods getting ready to cry, he's like, "You not about to cry, are you? Are you about to cry? I want to see them tears." It's just great stuff, man. But I mean, there are other great. I always look fondly on Rich Swann winning Impact World Championship because Rich is great, and I think he deserved that run. He had a great run as well. That visual of him sitting on a ramp with both belts over his shoulders is still dope to me.
Mm-hmm.
Happy Black History Month, everybody.
Yes. It's over. Right.
Shame Monster says, Phil, help me help A-Shock. Stardom start point.
I think you just gotta find the wrestlers that you're interested in. And it's not rocket science. It's just like you got into any wrestling. Like when I think about any promotion I've gotten into, I'm like, oh, that wrestler looks cool. I want to see more of their matches. Find that wrestler that connects with you and watch their matches. And that's the thing that's going to get you into Stardom.
Mm-hmm.
Sean Tragedy says Bobby versus Bray in a Cinnamon Toast Crunch cage match.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing with this Bobby and Bray stuff. I did laugh very hard doing their Bray segment last night when Bray was watching his own promo on that little tablet and he was laughing at it. I don't know why that made me laugh so hard, but I thought it was really funny.
Leonard Aarons III says Lesnar and Omos equals Taker and Giant Gonzalez. Vince is back.
Yeesh.
Yikes.
Anime Otaku says Jericho should lose to Ricky at Revolution, keep the streak going. I agree. I think it should be a Jericho streak thing of that man has never won at Revolution, and just keep it going. You know, lost to Mox of that first year, lost to the Bucks the second year, lost to Eddie the third year. Like, for some reason, Revolution, man, and people still think because of the angle Reg is at, oh shoot, what happened to Reg's hair?
Nothing happened. Look, guys, look. It's still hair back there. It's hair. Damn, that match with Kingston last year was really good. I forgot about that.
Yeah, the opener. Yeah, it was very good.
That was fun.
Come on,
I still watch that every once in a while.
Get Eddie back on TV, man.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. And then we've got 3 more Humper Chats. And then we are out of here, folks. I'm going to have to cut these off. But you'll hear from us this week. Promise. We got stuff. We got some good stuff coming this week. Yeah, we got a lot going on this week.
Grapsody next week. We're not recording on Saturday, I take it.
I don't know.
What's happening? I don't know.
We got to talk about that because I'm traveling. My flight leaves at noon, so we will talk about that. Black Phoenix Brand says, meant to send this to a week or two ago. People are comparing the Sammy/Cody issue to the Daniel Bryan situation, but it's not even close. If anything, it's closer to WrestleMania 20 with Triple H and HBK having an unresolved issue and it being the Royal Rumble winner's time. And he's talking about, of course, the Royal Rumble winner was Chris Benoit, and Chris, of course, he won the Rumble, but the difference there was legitimately a question because Triple H versus Shawn Michaels at Royal Rumble ended in a draw. And so, yeah, that was completely unresolved. There was no winner to that match. But then all of a sudden, here's Benoit who won the Rumble. So, yes, it needed to be a triple threat because Shawn still had his shot and all of that. But on the other hand, this isn't quite that either.
It's just different.
I do think it's more similar to WrestleMania 20 than the Yes Movement. I just think that the Yes Movement is anomaly. I don't think you could just compare anything to that.
I definitely don't think it's close to the Yes Movement. I wasn't, and when I said Brian, I was definitely not comparing it to the Yes Movement. I was comparing it more to the WrestleMania 37's build. But yeah, and then he also says, happy Grapsody. The funny thing with Dynamite, last week's show was a little lackluster, and everybody wrote AEW's obituary. Then he says, they follow up with next week's with a banger of a show. People just got to relax. I mean, yeah, but I think that's just the lack of permanence in people's lives of AEW, because AEW is still so new. And so it's not like with WWE, a complete institution in your life, something that's been around most of your lives that, if they have a bad show, it's like, all right, well, we'll see what happens next week.
There'll be another one, yeah.
Yeah, whereas... I think the shows that are not WWE, when a show doesn't succeed, your immediate thought is, oh, shit.
It's over.
Yeah, okay, well, what do they got to fix? What's got to change? But
Even though Impact Wrestling is 20 years old and they fucking said they were going to die every single year, they can't make it. They're not as good
Still
as
around,
WWE.
buddy.
20 years there, still going strong.
would you say they're hard to kill?
Oh, God. Get them out of here.
I mean, that's where the name comes from, the whole idea that people have been talking about their demise for that long. Bob the Builder says, from 1 to 10, how do you rate the build to the AEW pay-per-view? I give it a 4. It's been about, I think, I've liked the Bryan and MJF stuff, so I'd at least say a 6. But
I was going to say like a 5. They kicked it into high gear, but for the most part,
I would say 5, because I feel like while I agree, I think the main event stuff has been good. I think the women's stuff has gotten better. There's been a lot of stuff that I feel like could have been executed a lot better.
Yeah.
Like Keith and Swerve is a big example where I feel like it's become an afterthought. It's now on Rampage, and we're not getting any of those developments on Dynamite, and I don't understand why. I feel like even the tag match they announced last night, I'm like, okay, I'm interested, but how are we getting to this match at Revolution?
Yeah.
I feel like they haven't really showed how personal this feud is, and I feel like that's definitely a misstep.
Yeah. Well, folks, that is it for this edition of Grapsody. Thank you to everybody who sent the super chat. Thank you to everybody who tuned in. Hope you enjoyed the show. We will be back later this week. There's going to be content pretty much all week from us. So, like I said, we got interviews coming up. We got Ask Grapsody. I'm going to be in San Francisco next week. Again, if you're going to be at Revolution, come say hi. Or if you plan on being at the AEW bowling dealie, me, Reg, and Denise will be there. And yeah, we've got a lane. We're going to bowl. Do you like bowling, Reg?
We're going to bowl. Yeah, I'm a big fan. I'm excited to embarrass myself in front of there. Come watch me embarrass myself, you guys. It's going to be a great time. Good time, great memories.
Same. So I'm not great at bowling.
No,
but
it's fun
Are
though.
we doing anything that night? Because I think
we're going to West Coast Pro, I believe.
A birthday soon, isn't it?
We're going to celebrate a young G, yes, Righteous Reggie, me, on that day. And at Revolution. We're celebrating, so if you see me, buy me some Hennessy. Thank you.
And so West Coast Pro is that night, right?
Yes, West Coast Pro is that night. Buy me some Hennessy, NBA edition.
Why? I still want to know why
here.
is there an NBA logo on the
NBA, baby, because black people like Hennessy, Phil. What do you mean? Black people like Hennessy. They have to advertise to us. They know we like basketball, too. They like basketball. They like Hennessy. He'll definitely drink it. And they were right.
It feels a little racist, but no.
That's the point.
No, I mean, honestly, look, once rappers discovered that you could rhyme Hennessy with enemy, it was over. Like, that's...
No Tupac slander to end this.
Look, are you kidding me? I am a massive Tupac fan.
Who started that.
But yes, Tupac definitely rhymed Hennessy with enemy quite a few times.
Whoever mixed Hennessy and Hypnotic, you're nasty. That's a disgusting drink. The worst of all time. Ew.
Disgusting.
Anyway, folks, that's it for this edition of Grapsody. Thanks for joining us. For Philip Lindsay, for Righteous Reg, I'm Will Washington. We'll see you next time. Have a great day. Peace.